I am the Ronan Pawn, and welcome to a twitch.tv/RonanPawn livestream on twitch.tv/RonanPawn. Was the mic open the whole time? I pressed the button, but the button made it didn't. Welcome to the live stream. We're having a series of technical normalcies here today. Just every live stream is just a bastard to get started. But today's was even more of a bastard to get started. Thanks to the fine folks over at Stream Elements. Stream Elements is the name I want to share with you. You know, there's Streamlabs, and there's a bunch of little services for streamers to make things easier and provide you with convenience features. Ha 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 ha! Stream Elements. Everything since I started using any of their stuff has just been nightmarish. And today's little surprise was that they've got a new feature where you can make, what are they calling it? Ground control. They're calling it ground control, and you can make your little layout for controlling the whole live stream within their browser. What the fuckers did is they replaced their pop-out multi-chat link in their own OBS plugin with the link to this full-featured dashboard shit. So now the multi-chat that I use to watch YouTube and Twitch chat simultaneously, I had to remove every panel from this full thing, and so now there's even less room for the actual chat to appear in my OBS setup. Thanks, Stream Elements. Thanks for no notice, no warning. Here's a new feature, and we've replaced other features that were functioning and that you were relying on with it arbitrarily. So if you were using those still, fuck you. Thank you, Stream Elements. Just want everybody to know everywhere, Stream Elements, don't use them. Not a professional thing. It's not, maybe teenagers who, hey guys, I'm new to live stream. I don't, how does this work? Oh, is this how this is? Maybe you can get them to believe that this is how things are supposed to be. I'm a professional, in the media business for over 10 years now, doing shit like this. This is bullshit. Stream Elements is trash. And welcome to the live stream. We'll be playing Kerbal Space Program today. This is just how I start most streams. What is going on here? Really? Okay, I didn't realize that that stay on top would keep you on top of full screen applications. All right, you can go away. Welcome to the show. The world's on fire as she watches TV, and if you ever wondered what it's like to be me, she what does she do? She spends all my money, she leaves me no smokes, she rips on my buddies, insults my folks, I'm breaking my back doing the best that I can. She got time for the dog, but none for her man. And I'm no dope, lost all hope, so hit the fucking road and piss up a rope. You can piss up a rope. Let's open the thing and maybe start thinking in terms of Kerbal. How you guys doing this fine, whatever it is, morning? Thursday. I'm pretty sure this is a Thursday morning. I believe I've started this live stream at 6:30? 6:30 in the morning. Good news is that I'm waking up a little bit later. I managed to keep myself awake yesterday until a little after 5 p.m. Woke up today at about 2. Kept myself in bed, eyes closed until 2:30, so I'm pushing that sleep schedule back to normalcy. We're starting this one up at 6:30 in the AM U.S. Eastern Time. And where are we? What are we doing? Well, I just want to mosey on in. Had some after you may have noticed at the end of the last live stream I was doing rather poorly health-wise. I had a bit of an ME CFS flare there. I can't entirely explain. I had a shower before I did the live stream. That's a lot. I usually try and not do those two things on the same day. Did a little bit of programming before the live stream. That could have, yeah, okay. The Lord thinks that was probably the cause then. Just a little bit, wasn't that much. I spent some, intellectual, neurological energies, and then we came to the live stream and we built a giant rocket that took 4 hours to make, so, you know, maybe it's just that. But in any case, I had that bad day, and then, you know, that I sucked a lot of energy out. You don't just get it back by going to sleep with this disease. So I had also another, not a, you know, horrible event, but a rather shitty end of a day kind of thing. So we might want to take it a little bit easier. We might not want to start out every live stream screaming about stream elements being shit and trash in a garbage fire, and stay the fuck away from them, kids. Want to save some of that energy for the show. We're up to $500,000 after the last mission. Last mission was we went to the moon. It's the moon. Don't be pretentious. We went to the moon, and we put our first space station in orbit ever, and so we gave ourselves credit for it being a milestone mission because it was a first, because it was the first space station in orbit ever. And that mission to put this in equatorial orbit around the moon and leave somebody up there. This is a science space station. This is for, you know, the good of all Kerbanity. Yeah, me too. We've got Brent Geary up here manning a mobile processing lab with, you know, pomegranate for where they can sleep, up to 3. There's enough room in there for them to do more than sleep if you have it. There's a dog dick attached to it. So we were calling it at the end of the last live stream was Deploy Dog Dick, the inflatable airlock. This is for, you know, Kerbals to come aboard and exit. You'd obviously have to have an airlock, and then you've also got the docking ports for large and small. So we've got a proper space station here that is, you know, an ISS-style space station. It's nothing more than it absolutely needs to be, which is a lab and a place for you to shit and shave and shower, sleep, and then it's got all of the ways for you to attach to it. Sadly, we only put about half the electricity on here we need to keep the lab running overnight, by which I mean when you go into the shadow of the moon. But that being the case, we did put a ton of electric charge on here. We have 2,755 EC. Apparently what we needed was more like 6,000. And we don't really have the giant electric guy. If I would have had one that would have fit like a 2.5 meter structure like this, I would have thrown one of those on to cover all bases. I think we gave it as much EC as we could possibly justify. And so yeah, we now have this in orbit of Le Moon, with a scientist attached to it, and this guy is full of data. 513 data, already turned it into 3 science. It's only been up here for 2 days, so by the end of, you know, 2027, we should be able to get 500 science out of this thing. It'll be great. It'll be grand. That was the last mission because it was our first space station. It took 2 craft to get it up there. You know, there's the space station versus the other thing. With all the bonuses stacked on each other, we ended up paying ourselves a pretty nice payout for the mission. And we are now half millionaires in Kerbal. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. What are we going to do today? And my best idea that I've had is one that's been written down on my notes for a while now that might have wanted to happen before we sent a space station out to the moon. It definitely wants to happen now. And that is to give the moon a comms network, a proper comms network. You know, if we look at what we set up for Kerbin here, we'll see that at Kerbin, we've got geosynchronous relay satellites, 3 of them, to make sure that we are never out of contact. And if Japan wants to call, what would be like the furthest away without coming back? New England. If Japan wants to call, you know, Maine in the United States of America, they'll be fine. We just bounce that signal here to here and then back down. It's fine. So yeah, we've done that for Kerbin. What we want is a similar system for the moon. That's Minmus. Where go at the moon go at? Here's the moon. Oh yeah, we've also got a solar craft all the way out there that's supposed to be doing something, I guess. But yeah, I would like the moon to have some kind of a network. And Geostationary is what we did for Kerbin. I'd like this to be Mooner stationary. And here's the thing. There's no such thing as a moon stationary orbit. Just checking all the chats here to make sure that I'm... that I am broadcasting. I mean, it seems as though I'm broadcasting. There's no such thing as a stationary orbit around the moon. You simply can't get high enough over the moon without leaving the moon's SOI, its sphere of influence, its gravity well. Whereas for Kerbin, you have to get 2.8 million meters above the surface in order to get a satellite that stays directly over top of the place that it's at. There's no such thing at the moon. However, we can fake it at the moon, because if you'll notice, the moon is on its own equatorial orbit around Kerbin. And so were we to place a satellite leading out here and trailing out there, then the moon does rotate. It's not tidally locked the way that our moon is, I don't believe. It certainly seems to be rotating. I could be wrong about that. But in either instance, the point is that two satellites on either side should always provide Kerbin with a way of sending a signal, boom, out to here, and getting it down to anywhere on the planet's surface. If there's one over here and there's one over here, they should be able to cover the entire 360 degree or 900 and 1240, the all of the globe, all of the spheroid that is the moon should be covered with signal if we were to do that. So that's going to be our starting mission for today. 2 satellites go up in one ship. We get captured in the moon's sphere of influence, and then we release them. And my idea is from the retrograde, we get absolutely as high in orbit as we can while we're just barely still within the sphere of influence of the moon. And then from the moon's retrograde, we blow just a little bit prograde, so that by the time we get over here, we break out of the SOI at no velocity whatsoever, and we should just have a satellite in orbit of the moon sitting right in front of it forever. And then we do the same, but from the prograde of the moon, breaking out retrograde, and we leave a satellite trailing the moon at almost no speed whatsoever forever, and we've got that comm satellite set up. And then we'll be, sturdy enough in our presence at the moon to consider things like, industry and tourism, mooner industry and mooner tourism kind of thing. But first we need that comms network. So that's what I'll be driving at. Just checking to see... Just to make sure nobody's said anything in chat yet. We've been here for 17 minutes, so I'm just checking to make sure y'all are alive. I mean, I'm alive. I appear to be. In fact, let me have a look in at the YouTube, at least, end of things, huh? You, sir? If anybody's going to complain, stream health-wise, it's YouTube, and they're happy. It all looks like it's going out. You're just tired. It's the morning. You're getting your coffee. You're getting ready to get to work. I understand. Let's go into the VAB and let's start looking at how, at what we're going to send to the moon and how we're going to get it there. So let's start with our original ComSat here. This was our KEO communications satellite. It has quite a bit of Delta V on it itself. I can't remember what exactly the numbers were, but y'all were good enough to look it up for me. Y'all were good enough to do the math to give us an idea. 700, actually. 700 and something meters per second of delta V has come to me. I believe that's what this has on it. 700 meters per second of delta V. It's, you know, a couple of high gain antennas, a couple of photovoltaic panels. It's simple, it's clean, it's uncomplicated. And honestly, this might be able to like push itself to the moon. If we do the math on this, just out of curiosity, I'm going to change the ship, I believe, because I want to send them both up at the same time. No reason to send two separate missions to the moon. We can pack it all together. But just out of curiosity, from sea level, we get 700 meters per second of delta V. 800, really, 790. So 800 plus, let's say that gets us to about 8 kilometers. Probably more like 7. 800 plus the 3200, that's you know, 4,000 even. And then up here, there's another 700. That's 4,700 meters per second of delta V. Hello, Dinnerbone on YouTube. You're the first chatter this live stream. You're letting me know that we're actually live. But yeah, so let's have a look at the old delta V map. If I can't find it again, I really should keep it handier than this, as much as I've been opening it lately. Let's have the GIF on the desktop. Just a link to it. And then you're there, and that way I can just pop it open, and for some reason image glass won't find itself. There you go. Match title otherwise fine thing. Window title must match title otherwise fine window of same executable. Let's use that then. See if that works. So here's our delta V map of the entire Kerbin system. Kerbin's down here, the moon's over there, geostationary orbit. This tells you how much delta V you need to get to any given place, including some of the planets that don't exist unless you install mods. We just want to look at the moon. 3,400 plus the about 1,200 that it takes, that's 4,600 is what we're saying to get to orbit here. We don't even need to go that far. So, yeah, these things could push themselves to the moon. What do we really need, then? 34 plus 860, and then it's 310 to drop down to 14 kilometers. Let's just assume, let's plan for 4,600. 4,600 meters per second will be more delta V than we need. So 4,600. And in fact, let's say 4,300 to get to the moon's sphere of influence. Yeah. We want 4,300 to get to the moon's sphere of influence. Let's immediately, like, delete the fairing. Give me some interstage nodes. Give me a second one of you here. With the idea that we could deploy both of you. Is that how we want to do it, though? What if they were, like, attached to one another? Is that possible? Probably not, son. The way that you've made this, it's very tight, it's very compact. Yeah, that is true. But the thing is, like, I would rather one of these guys, like, push both of them to where they're going than have a platform that flies them there and delivers, because then that platform has to deorbit itself. It would be better if we use the 700 meters per second that each of them have. And we can even reduce that weight on one of them or both of them. Yeah. Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah! Shut up, Vaughn. Okay. No, it's all coming together in mind now. Comsat Delivery Mark 1. Did you have the different kind of satellite on you? You did. Alright, so I think the old satellite was something that the boys down at the lab made up for us. And it was Comsat Kerbin Mark 1. And it's just got these two on it. And so if the other one had 700 meters per second, we gotta assume this one's got 300 meters per second of delta V. Yeah. Yeah. So, desu ne. I think what we do... What if I replace this decoupler with a stack separator? We don't need a lot of force here. And then I make the stack separator the root part. And then I yank you off and I put a second one here. Don't misinterpret my willingness to yank you off. That's not... Shh. So that gets two of them in a package. And either one of them could be pushing the package together to where it needs to go. Problem becomes, how do we get this to space? So let's say... Number one, we do put a decoupler down here. Naniwa? I don't love that. Is it because it's an RCS guy that it doesn't have a... Is it an RCS? It is an RCS guy. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So... Yeah, I don't love it. See, it being a decoupler, there's just a lot of stuff down here that the decoupler, like, has to clear on its way out. If I extend these solar... Oh, you're those kind of solar panels, are you? Is that what I want? I guess that's what you want. Okay, that's what I want. I think they'd be better off if they were the other kind of solar panel, actually. Yeah. The long, skinny guy would give us more clearance. So... You open up at that end like that, that's fine. I just need this one to do it instead. On either side. Always the last direction. You reach for, and now we have that instead, which gives us much more clearance. And less possibility for, you know, our own shadow hitting our panel. So I think it's better in every conceivable way. One of the ways is also that we can now, like, rock these balls down. Yeah, for the sake of being able to... These just might need to be sort of reimagined a little bit. Oh, I've got to watch out. Aha. For this. You see this? This is how we do translation, rotation, all that. In fact, where's the center of mass on this thing? Obviously. Those being there is important, so I can't block them. But I can do as much as as much blocking as I can get away with is a thing. Almost block them would be the idea. Get you out like this. Before I was trying to pack it up as tight as I possibly could have it. Now we have a different issue, a different concern. That looks good. I like that. I can see on this side of things where you see where the RCS little mini prop is. It's got lots of clearance there. In fact, I could probably take a little bit more clearance away. Okay. And then we take this, flip her upside down, put one down there, throw you away, back over to the decouplers. And then, what's the situation that we be facing? So we would deploy these first before we decoupled. And then when we decouple, you know, I just want to be able to, I mean, for two reasons. One, in my own head, feeling like, are we doing this in a way that's believable? Two, in a way where I know that Kerbal Space Program will shake itself to death violently if you don't, you know, make these considerations, if you don't do things the way that Kerbal wants you to do them. So, yeah. I think this would be fine. And then, of course, the idea is we will extend this. Retract the antenna. Oh, wait. You just reminded me. The other part of this. Extend the antenna. I want one of these. We remove from symmetry. I want one of them to be reverse. Like that. See, so one of them's forward, one of them's back. I like that. Extend the antenna. I want remove from symmetry, and then you go the other way. Yeah, because then I flipped it upside down like that, and so it would end up being like this. That's correct. Retract. Retract. And then retract. Retract. This is a good tight build so far. And so then the idea is to extend this area so that it will stand up as is needed underneath the fairing. Extend it like that. You just might be willing to pull you down a little bit. Put you where it's wanted, and then maybe I actually test this, put it out on the pad, make sure that it'll release. I mean, we'll be in gravity as opposed to not in gravity kind of a thing, but, you know. And again, in terms of this, like, pushing through there, we would fabricate something slightly smaller. You gotta use your imagination in Kerbal Space Program. We would make sure that the clearance works. We would, you know, we would have that release the lock and have it lock a little bit further out. It would be, you know, you gotta use your imagination. So let's look at, ComSat double pack Mark 1, we'll call it. And let's save it. And I guess we launch it. Let me make sure that we've got action groups are all good here. I'm pretty sure these were already action grouped. 9 toggles all the antennas. What? 9 toggles the antennas. But 8 does not deploy the solar panels. That's because I changed them out, that's right. So extend solar panel, extend solar panel. Okay. Save that, let's put it on the pad, and how's this gonna break in the first place? Yeah, pop there, and then we pop there. That's what we want to see. Launch it, we're just putting it into the VR sim. Seeing how the physics work out. Okay. Kind of got the wrong one as the command, as the controller here. Control point default. Hibernate and warp is manual? Okay, we'll want to change that too. I actually installed just a single, like, entry module manager patch to make it, hopefully, we'll have a look at this, so that hibernate and warp is always set to auto when you build a thing by default. You know, like the like, squad, like the idiots who made this game, might have done if they thought about it for 3 seconds. Let's go Alt F12, let's go to cheats, and let's hack gravity, and turn it down to, you know, lower, 0.5 or something. It's fine, doesn't need to be too low. And, in 3, 2, 1, fire. So some things broke off there, which is sort of precisely what we don't want to see happen. Oh, I was supposed to deploy them first. Revert to launch. Yes. So if I do it wrong, that's what will happen. But I had planned to deploy my comms first, and then do the detachment. So 9 to deploy comms. Yeah. And then we do the detachment. Are we still gravity hacked? We are. Go. Yeah. Just like that. And then if we go RCS, only one of them. Yep. N, H, H, N. And then there we go. You can see those. Up, down, down, up. And then the little guys should be visible here. Yep. That will be a controllable, like, single unit craft that we can get where we're trying to go. Between it's all being shared. All the monoprop is being shared. We got 30 monoprop there. I think that should probably give us about 700 meters per second. You doubled the weight, though. You doubled the weight, maybe 500 meters per second of delta V between the two of them. Let's assume it's just 300. Which, it's more than that. It's got to be more than that. Let's assume it's just 300. We'll plan on 300. But this works. This is good. Let's not forget to unhack gravity. And then back to the VAB, because we've got our package. Now we just need to send it to space. It would be nice if Kerbal Space Program were a better game. I'm thinking it would be nice if I could, like, have these be part of the staging. Like, deploying these things could just be part of the staging. Why shouldn't it be able to be part of the staging? You know? So that you can code events to happen sequentially. Why can't I come over to the action grouping and say, I want these to be, you know, made available for staging? Again, you know, better developers would have managed to come up with this shit in the 10 fucking years it took them to... Comsat Double Pack Mark 1 is good. We want Hibernate and Warp Auto. And I believe this is the one that we want controlling. But I think the way that we would change that is to just make you the root part. Which is actually not what we want to do. We want that to be the root part, because we're going to merge this into another craft, probably. Let's go over and look at another craft, probably. So, if I go to the Comsat Delivery Mark II. Okay. We zoom in. We delete the fairing. We rip this sumbitch off. And then we merge in the Comsat Double Pack Mark 1. Merge. Don't you love how it just zooms you out for no particular fucking reason when you merge something in? Now, if there'd been better developers... So... let's go ahead and, like, rebuild the fairing. Which still looks like it just goes straight up. Yeah, even after, like, making my balls a little bit wider. After I made my balls a little bit wider, it still just goes straight up. That's a nice, clean package for my balls. Now, from sea level in this craft, we still have 770 meters per second. We get up to about 7 kilometers, and we've got 3,200, and that's 3,900. We got 3,206, it's 3,250 plus 750, which is just straight up 4,000. And then we assume that this has at least 300, and that's exactly what we said we were going for, was 4,300. Was it, though? I think we wanted 4,300 to the moon. Let's get that Delta V map back up, huh? So, it's 34 and 12, and so it's 4,600 total, and we wanted 4,300 to get to the moon. Whereas right now we're looking at having like 4,300 total. And like I said, we probably have more than that. I think there's more like 500 meters per second in here. And we don't need all the 300, but the 300 is supposed to be, it's like extra. It's covering our bases, is the idea of the 300. So, a little bit more liquid fuel in the lifter stage. Boy, I hate to bring so much extra Delta V. Like, we're gonna... If this is gonna get us 4,300 meters per second... Well, no, this is gonna get us 4,000. So we're almost out to the moon, then we break off, we finish the capture of the moon with these guys, and we just barely get into the SOI of the moon using these guys. We barely circularize... And then we break back out. I think this could do it. I think this could get us there. And I really do hate to put more liquid fuel on. When I don't believe that it's at all necessary. If I were going to, it would be, you know, like this. And that would give us, down to, we were saying 750 before, now we're down to 740, which is closer to 750 than we had more than 750 before. So it's still kind of 750, but now the at altitude sea level stuff is 3,200 plus 750. What? And we just lose, we added Delta V and we lost. What? And we have 3,250. And 750 before, and now I'm showing 750 and 3,200. Sorry? The Delta V readings might have been lying to us previously. It does that shit all too frequently. Let's make sure, let's put you, I believe, are the one we want to control with. Actually, you would be the one we want to control with. And then we just make sure, we make sure control point should be forward. There's no reason for it not to be forward. Same for you. Wait. Forward, reversed. No, I think it should be default. It's not forward. Control points default. Control points default, I think. Because right side up here... Which one? Wait. That suggests that... Yeah, that... Okay, it is upside down in that one. This is the one that's right side up. So, reversed is correct then. Why did I do that? Jesus, we have hit middle-age brain rot. It says... De Clapton. Who? Who's hit? How? Have you been watching, you know, American politics? Is that what we're talking about here? So yeah, I'm pretty sure that the TWR was just lying to us earlier before. It said 3250 and 750, and then I moved some things around, and now it's saying 3000, and that's about Kerbal Space Program. That's about Squad for you right there, isn't it? You know, math is just addition is kind of hard. Now we're back up to 770. I'm calling it 750, but we're seeing 3000, so 3700, which means we are below what is needed considerably. Even assuming that we've got 300 in here, 3,750. KSP lying to you and having no idea how numbers work? Inconceivable, says Mephistopheles. Hey, everybody's showing up, finally. Did you just wake up? What the... I would like more of this Delta V to be in our SRPs, if possible, so, you know, that would be nice. What if I put some shrimps on here? What if I added, and they don't even need to, like, drop off or anything, just give me some more DV on our solid fuel burn stage. I like. And now we've got 1100 plus, wait, no, at sea level, 1,000 plus 3,000, 4,000 even, and then we add on the 300, and that gets us to the 4,300, and again, that's like, I was saying, that's kind of, not sure that that's everything that we need, but I think it is. I think that that's very much everything that we need, because we're not going all the way to 14-kilometer capture of the moon. We're just barely licking the scrotum, the sphere of influence of the moon, just barely with the tip of the tongue, you know, just teasing it. So I don't feel like we need all that. I'm going to have to reduce the thrust, obviously. Get us down to something, let's say, around a 150 there. And then figure out, we're at 1.49. Okay, that's 133. 135. 14. Wait, no, I'm looking at, I need burn time is what I need to be looking at. 66 seconds still. 80 seconds. I'm using burn time, in case you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm using burn time to figure out where it is, at what point these engines are all burning for the same amount of time. So right here at 68, the burn time is 66 seconds, and if I go any higher than 68, it's still 66 seconds, because these will burn out and still be attached. But if I drop down to 67, it goes up to 70 seconds. That tells us that they would, you know, take too long to burn. So this is the magic number. It could be the half between them, but this is close enough. The magic number for us to have a total from sea level. Alright, I did it wrong. I need to be at sea level. We need to increase the thrust to weight ratio. We need like a 1.3 is fine off of the pad. But a little bit higher doesn't hurt anything either. I'm going to go up to 70 on the thrust limit there for 1.24. And then our burn time is 70 seconds. Let's just go all the way up. 60 seconds is what we're looking for. Still 60 seconds. Still 60 at 73. Okay, now it's moved. 72 is 66. We need 60. No? Oh, wait. Are you at 72? Let's look at 72.5. 65. Go up to 74. 74. Let's do 73.5. 73.5 appears to still be okay, and I'm pretty sure 74 was the tipping point. No, 74 is okay. Wait, am I going in the wrong direction? I think you're going in the wrong direction. 74.5, 74, 73. Let's go down to 73. 73, still okay. 72. 72, we lose it. 72.5. Yeah, so 73 is the magic number here, where our burn time stays the same. And we've got a thrust-weight ratio off the pad of 1.27, a little bit low, but not bad. We go a little bit slower in the atmosphere. We don't waste as much delta V going up. We don't push against the atmosphere in a way that's dangerous and deadly and get us flop over. However, still carrying all the solid fuel, right? Yeah, good. However, we are under 1,000 now. At altitude, this should get us to 10, 11 kilometers, something like that. We'll say 10 kilometers. Now we got 3,100 plus the 900. We say 950, we say 3,150. So again, we're right around that 4,000, but maybe a little bit more than 4,000 meters per second in delta V. It would be 4,300 total just to get like to the moon capture, right? One more time looking at this map. 34 plus 12, so 4,600 to get all the way down there, 4,300 to get to just the flyby. I've been thinking that the 4,300 was to get that, but it's 4,600 to get the capture, the low capture. So we've got 4,000, probably 4,100 before we even switch over to the satellites, which themselves have over 300 meters per second in delta V, which means we're right at the target. It would be nicer to carry more with us. I think we are carrying more with us. I think these have like 500 meters per second in delta V between the two of them. That's what I believe to be the case. This is going to end up being debris in space, but you know, there's a lot of space out there. It'll be fine. I think this is it. And this is Mooner headphones Mark 1. Because, of course, the idea behind this mission, I'll state again for anybody who's just joining us, is we have established a geostationary constellation of satellites around Kerbin. We would like to have geostationary or something that affects the same, you know, has the same kind of effect for the sake of the moon. See, there's our geostationary, but you can't do it at the moon. The moon is... You can't get high enough over the moon to get things to lock geostationary before you leave its gravity well sphere of influence. So, the way that I'm thinking we can do this, I've never done it before, but it makes sense to me, is that we can put a satellite leading the moon and a satellite trailing the moon just outside of its sphere of influence. And then they will always be leading and trailing, and they will give us, you know, full coverage of the moon from its leading edge and its rear edge, especially as, you know, as supported by our geostationary guys who will always be able to talk to them and get to, like, the backside of the moon. That's my idea. So that's why I'm calling them headphones, because they're going to be on either side. If we're looking at the moon like that, then the ears of the moon are are going to be able to receive our signals from now on. And in just 52 minutes, I think we've made the craft that's going to the moon to do this mission. So we don't have to wait for a live stream break to launch this one. However, we do have to wait a certain number of days before we can launch this mission according to our rules. We said we only do a launch, off-planet launch, once every 14 days. And the moon station here is on its third day of that mission being out there. So that gives us the number. We need another 11 days before we can launch. What's up, Ronan says the Whisker River. Wait, the Whiskey Rivers. I remember. How you doing? You got so many I's and E's in there. Meanwhile, Obi-Wan can blow me. Obi can blow me. Says, dude, this is the coolest stream I've seen by far. I didn't even know they made games like this. Sorry for all caps. No, it's fine. You know, Obi can blow you. You gotta be excited. Yeah, Kerbal Space Program. It's a real piece of trash until you put about 50 mods in there, and then it becomes a very interesting game. This game is what got me interested in SpaceX back when I was like 16, says the Whiskey Rivers. You know, I think I've always been like an underdog kind of a guy, and SpaceX, even when they were the underdog, never felt like the underdog to me. I never really rooted for SpaceX. And the more that I learned about Elon, the less that I rooted for them. But meanwhile, like, who I do root for, I don't even know the names of them. That little organization that we talked about the last live stream that had that liftoff where it didn't go right, and so the rocket just ended up having a 1.0 TWR because one of its engines failed, and it just hovered there because it was perfectly balanced. It had exactly the thrust in order to counter its own weight against Earth's gravity, and it just sort of slid, you know, a little bit to the right, and just until it started to burn enough fuel that it lost enough weight to be able to lift itself up and keep going. That was inspiring to me. That was like, that's how you fail. You fail in a way that proves your technology is so fucking good that it can just sit there hovering in mid-space like that at a 1.0 TWR and still eventually go off on its mission. That's how you fail. Those guys were that would be Astra, says the Whiskey Rivers. Yeah. And I liked their concept, which was to go entirely the opposite direction of SpaceX. SpaceX is about reusable rocketry. Everything comes back, and then you refurbish it, repair it, cross your fingers, and hope it's still good, and send it back up. Astra, I believe, their whole concept was, no, we want to, like, throw everything away, but what we want to do is we want to develop engines that are meant to be disposable, that, you know, like, they're economically viable to be thrown away. We want to develop things that just get used once and then we're done with them, but in a way that's so much cheaper than the space industry has ever done it before. As much as that sounds wasteful, for the sake of space travel, and where, you know, most things are like, we want to send up a really lightweight little satellite and get our little chunk of nothing, whatever, in orbit there, I don't know, it kind of makes more sense for, like, the practical applications that human beings have for space travel today. It's not going to get you to Mars, Astra's idea. But then why the fuck are we going to Mars? What's on Mars, huh? Cancer, I'll tell you that. A lot of solar radiation, a lot of no magnetic, no atmosphere to prevent you from just getting all the different kinds of tumors. I know that's on Mars. I know one of the best ideas for Mars is that you're supposed to land there, dig a hole, put your facility in the hole, and then cover your facility in your own shit so as to create a layer above you that will sort of filter some of that solar radiation, some of those tumor-causing wavelengths of energy that are coming down from space. One of the best plans for Mars is for the astronauts to land and literally bury themselves in their own shit. I think maybe we need to wait until the technology catches up with our desire to go to the red planet, is what I'm saying. Astra, everything is 3D printed. Oh, really? That's kind of... They both have pros and cons, says the Whiskey Rivers. Reusability is a bitch and hard to do, but if we can get space travel as reliable as atmospheric flight... and Obi-Wan the squad laughing and saying that's crazy. Yeah, that's one of the plans. I'm pretty sure that's one of the plans. Get to Mars and then just attach the toilet, the end of the toilet, the sewer is just above you so that it just fills and keeps filling and creating a thicker and thicker layer to try and give you protection against the cosmic radiation and stuff. What are we doing? Where are we going? I said we have to go 11 days into the future. We're on day 109, so that's day 120. We will be allowed to launch. Usually, the reason why we do this 14-day waiting period is it gives me an incentive to... One, it just makes it feel right. Time passes. When you're just launching without any passage of time, it gets weird. You're on like day 7 and you've got a space station around Duna or something. It's not right. But also it gives me an incentive to do things on the surface of Kerbin in between these flights. The only thing is right now I don't really have any ideas for what I would do on the surface of Kerbin. Nothing that's like... I think the fun is at the moon right now, and I'm chasing the fun. I want to keep myself entertained so I don't get bounced off. That's a shitty idea. A smart, shitty idea. I think the amazing yet ambitious goal of terraforming Mars, says the Whiskey Rivers, is in which practice humans change the Earth's atmosphere every day. It's possible. If we just pollute the shit out of Mars, we'll get a nice thick layer. Nice thick layer of tetrachlorine that can help us. Terraforming Mars is definitely. I've been all about that since Total Recall and Arnold and the lady with the 3 tits. I've been all for terraforming Mars. Incidentally, it's pretty curious to me now that I'm looking back. Like, I was recently talking in our Discord server, discord.ronanpawn.com, if you want to get a invite to the Discord server. I was recently talking about the movie Demolition Man. It's possibly my favorite movie. And, like, when I think about Demolition Man, when I talk about Demolition Man, it's a summer popcorn action movie with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes, aka Blade, It's it's like, how can this be your favorite movie? How can this be the height of cinema for you? But like, I would actually argue that it's one of the best movies ever made, and that's what blew my mind, is when I said I don't think it's just my favorite movie or one of them. I think it's one of the best movies ever made because it's incredibly well written, it's incredibly well acted, the pacing is perfect, the editing is on target, the set building, the world building, all of it is there, and it's doing all of the things to capture your attention, to hold a broad audience's attention in terms of, like, it's going to be explosions and 2 bulky dudes beating the shit out of each other. Hey, who's going to turn that down? It's doing all that stuff, and it's doing it atop a very intelligent story that you don't even notice is an intelligent story while you're watching. You're just kind of like along for the ride. But the more you think about it, this is a dystopian sci-fi future in which the dystopia is a faux utopia. The dystopia is like H.G. Wells' Time Machine, Morlocks and Eloy, the surface dwellers and the beings underground. It's an allegory for capitalism, but also, like, more so an allegory for kind of, I would say, neoliberalism. It's the society in Demolition Man has made, amongst other here's some of the things that are illegal in Demolition Man that while you're watching the movie, they say it out loud, but you might just not process it because it's so happy and shiny and everybody's teeth are so white and everyone seems so happy. Some of the things that are illegal: sex, kissing, cursing, bad words are illegal. Salt is illegal because it's unhealthy for you. These are some of the things that are illegal. It's a kind of a, almost a nanny state kind of a thing where they've decided anything that's bad for you is bad for society, and so we're just going to make it illegal so that we don't have to pay for the consequences, the ramifications. It's like taking all of that kind of, I would call that more of the liberal perspective, but it's like the pearl clutching soccer mom middle class out in the suburbs, white picket fence, like everything has to be the way that I think it should be. But it's like the neoliberal kind of attitude is what I would say. You know, most of the ills of the world come from conservatism, but the liberals, the ones that are in the middle that aren't truly on the left, I feel like, you know, the story of Demolition Man tells the story in 1993. It was predicting where LA would get, how bad like Southern California would get. And it really is there now. I mean, 50,000 homeless live around the city of Los Angeles. Live in and around, and the best idea that the city of Los Angeles has come up with is to cover them all in shit so to protect themselves from the cosmic. No, the best idea the city of Los Angeles has come up with to address its homelessness problem, which is 1/10 of the entire United States homeless population in Southern California, is to just round them up and chase them away, put them somewhere else, just get them out of our view. This is exactly the plot of Demolition Man. Demolition Man has this same society of like happy, shiny people living in a wealthy state where everything's kind of just fine and okay as long as you ignore the 50,000 people who in Demolition Man are living underground in the sewers, having been pushed underground by this Orwellian, this weird government wherever, you know, this faux utopian government. Where we've made everything all happy and shiny and clean and pleasant. Let's all sing the commercials of yesteryear. Like, that's part of the world of Demolition Man, is music. The most popular form of music is what they call mini-tunes. They're listening to the Oscar Mayer Wiener's theme song. They're listening to advertisements from like the 50s and 60s and stuff. And this is what they consider music. Art is dead in the Demolition Man universe, and they're trying to kill it even more. It's a brilliant movie that has so much teaming underneath the surface, and on the top of it is just fun, summer, explosive action, comedy, fucking awesome. And so what I was getting to was launching a spacecraft at some point. What I was getting to was this realization that, like, the action movies of the 90s that were being produced by Hollywood, by the major studios, I think were more subversive than the modern movies being made by independent filmmakers. They're just, the people who were making the movies were hiding it better. They were shipping it underneath a flag that the corporations could salute and go, yeah, ship that out. I'm sure that'll be, you know, that'll make us a lot of money. It's weird to me to think that Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone movies have had so much to say in American media. I'm saying Mark 1. What did I... It was Mooner headphones, is what I was calling it. Let's put this out on the pad and think about launch. Build a ton of automated factories. This was Mephistopheles' suggestion when we were talking about polluting Mars to to solve things. Exactly. Build a ton of automated factories and pump Mars's atmosphere full of greenhouse gases. Surely nothing can go wrong. Don't know unless you try, says Whiskey. Or we could just wait till we run out of resources on Earth. I'll die either way. I don't care. Yeah, that's, you know. We're getting to a point, aren't we? I don't want to be too much of a downer, especially, I'm on the, Demolition Man. Awesome movie. If you've never seen Demolition Man, go find it, 1993. Importantly, try and find the U.S. cut, the U.S. release, the Taco Bell cut. It's 6 seconds longer than the International Pizza Hut cut release. And it is the original way that they filmed it. And then, I guess Taco Bell didn't pay to do the international thing, or maybe, Taco Bell wasn't really much of an international company in 1993 in the first place. So they sold, ad placement to Pizza Hut, and they did some digital you know, they did 1993's version of replacing a logo in the background with Pizza Hut instead of Taco Bell, and they did some bad voice dubbing, and it's just it's a bit of a it's a bit of a no, this isn't quite right, is it? I'm going to control from here. No, I'm going to control from here. And is 90 in 90 is not in the correct direction there. I will pull left. Because of that, I guess. It's so weird when the nav ball is the wrong way round, though. Isn't it? Isn't it? I would much prefer, let's revert to flight to vehicle assembly. I would much prefer to not, just to not, but what if we didn't? What if I knotted? So yeah, there's your problem. Let's make you the center. Wait, no, let's not make you the center. And then take everything off below here. Take you. Spin you around. That should put it on the correct side now. And then I reattach you. That's all still good. We make you the root part. We make you the root part. It's fine. And then I think that should be correct now. Save. And wait. Did you... I don't know if I did the staging at all. Jesus. Let's pay attention for a moment. SRBs. I got all caught up in Martian demolition men. SRBs fire, and then we drop the SRBs, and we switch over to the liquid fuel, and then when we get up there, we... Is that the right thing? I mean, it looks like the right thing. You? Yeah, we release. No, we need the fairing lower. And we need to deploy these before we release that. Somebody remind me when we get up there, we need to deploy our comms. Basically, like when we deploy the fairing, we might as well deploy the comms, kind of thing. Before I break off of the main ship, the mothership, the lifter, I need to deploy our comms systems. Save. And launch. And launch. I think we're good. I'm a little bit distracted, but how could that hurt us in a space program? He was a little bit distracted when he made this one. SAS on throttle to full. And the ball is correct now. 90 is where it's supposed to be. I'm noting that, like, I think with this Z, whatever it is, I think that, like, the actual center point of the nav ball here, the orange bit with the circle and the thing, see how this is, like, just above the line? I think that's how this reads here. And I think it was different in the old one, and I keep trying to compensate to put this line on the line. I don't think I'm supposed to do that. I think I'm supposed to keep this line just above the line that I want to be on, and then the dot marks the actual center? Maybe? Maybe it's a little bit... This might just be off in this UI design. This looks... It's wrong. It's, like, hard to follow the exact line of the equator ever since I've installed this GUI replacement. SAS is on throttle to full. Houston, could you give us a countdown?
Sure, Pawn. In 3, 2, 1, fire!
Okay, taking off with, I think it was supposed to be a 1.26 TWR. And I'm going to immediately bank down the ball a little bit. I want to create some eastward velocity. And it's kind of crazy how much you want to bank down the ball and how quickly you want to get it started, really. We have strong reaction wheels here, but we have no, like, automated SAS systems with these probe cores. So there's that as an issue. Halfway through the solid fuel now. A little bit more. Third, really. We are at full throttle on the liquid when it's time to switch. Coming up on it. We're almost out of fuel in, like, the main one. Yeah, we're out on the main guy. That ain't right. I'm gonna switch to the liquid a little bit early, because that wasn't right. That didn't work the way that we'd expected. We are at full throttle here. Looking good. Just trying to keep in our prograde bubble. Coming down the ball very nicely. Okay, don't lead it, don't push it, don't pull it. Apoap's at 27 kilometers. We're at 18 ourselves. Following it down. This is a very nice go. This is a very nice liftoff for us, I feel like. We're rolling down the ball at a reasonable pace. Making a lot of speed. We're going to be burning continuously. I could have controlled when we lifted off. I never think to, like, choose the moment when we lift off to, like, care about where the moon's gonna be. So I guess that means we're gonna circularize Kerbin first. Apoapsis at 58 kilometers. I would like to pull us down the ball quite a bit more now. Yeah, Apoapsis is rushing up. Which I don't love. Might even burn a little bit below the horizon now to slow how the apoapsis is coming up. We'll go up to like 75 or something. 75 kilometers, shutting the engines down, and then getting in the prograde bubble more or less to reduce drag on our way up. Okay, clean liftoff. That was very clean, very efficient. Coming up to 75 kilometers. Where's the moon? Moon's out here. Let's set it as the target. Where are we at? Yeah, we're in a horrible place for getting to the moon. We will have to just circularize Kerbin. Which is fine. That's the Delta V that we planned for. Does include these maneuvers. See, look at where we are on the ball right now. And I guess it looks like the dot is dead on the line, whereas these are a little bit above the line. Our verticals there are a little bit above the line. That's a bit confusing to me. I'm used to being able to follow the lines a little bit. I just gotta get used to it, though. Maybe this is how it is, you know. Usually the modders are like, well, I'm gonna do it better than the squad did. Let's F5 now that we've made it to space. A little quick save. And our apoapsis is 75.6. When we hit, what do we got left? Negative 373. We've got a bit of a burn before us. 1,600 meters per second of Delta V left in the tanks. Which is good. Remember, we got to transfer out to the moon. Almost all the way out to the moon with that. Oh, we're coming up on our apoapsis right now. I'm going to start burning now. Apoapsis is coming. Just want to keep it in front of us. I'll pull up a little bit to keep it out in front of us. Just hold it there. Start throttling back to hold it in front of us. Periapsis should be popping out here any moment now. Where the hell is it? Okay, Periapsis does exist. And we have a circularization. 75.5 and 75.6 kilometers above Kerbin on the apoapse and the periapse. We are in orbit, F5. And we have 929 meters per second of delta V remaining to transfer to the moon. Now, just out of why not have a look? Our delta V map says to get to the moon we need 860 for the flyby and then 310 for the capture. 310 gets us all the way down to 14 kilometers, though we just barely want to capture it at all. So this craft should get us out to the moon. To the moon's SOI, no problem. And then we make the rest of the maneuvers, like, from here, actually, my uncertainty is regarding, like, making sure that all of this deorbits. We don't want to leave this up here. Let's F5, let's blow this fairing, which I could have done a little bit earlier and saved us a little delta V. We'll save it now. So we've got 929 meters per second of delta V while we're carrying the weight of the fairing, and now we have 957 meters per second. That's a pretty significant savings, actually. And I said, when I do that, I want to deploy my comms. So F5 again and deploy our comms. Yeah, they're a little bit in each other's space there. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Is it fine? It could be fine. We could also deploy... We shouldn't deploy the solar panels now, though. We are hibernate and warp auto on both of these. We are. So we should be fine for electric charge. We got 500 units of electric charge. Where's that coming from, 500 units of electric charge? Each of the cubes carries 250 EC. I didn't realize that. That's why they're so damn big. Love the music in the background. This is this all Kevin MacLeod stuff? Kevin MacLeod? Incompetech.com? Is it all him or just 90%? So we can have 5 here as well, since that's all going fine. How do I make sure that this gets deorbited? If I'm going up there with this thing, pushing us to a near-moon encounter, maybe that's what I want to focus on, is getting us to the edge of capture, and then backing off from capture to make sure that we can deorbit this thing. Maybe I create, before we leave, I burn us down on our periapsis side, and then I turn around and blow us in. I think that's probably the safest way to do this, is before we leave for the moon, I fire retrograde somewhere around here, burn it down so that our periapsis is... No, that's not how that works, buddy. Because we're going to burn prograde from here, it's going to blow it out on that side of things. What we would want is for this to be low, which is where we'll be leaving. So it just doesn't work that way. You do have to blow out to the point where you're just barely touching the moon, and then back it off. And then if we go all the way back out to the moon and then I burn retrograde to get that drop, maybe there's something we can do halfway through. I think that's what we'll do. We're just going to do the moon maneuver. We're not going to spend all of our DV. And then when we're halfway out, I will drop a maneuver node and I'll see what I can do. Maybe there's some radial, some normal, something, some kind of burn from halfway out there that will make it so that our periapsis drops. I'm just thinking of the elliptical orbit. Going out like that. If you're burning from here, we'll just have to futz with it, because I can't imagine in my head what it should be. Where am I? We're here. That's us? Oh my god. We're really that close to the tow truck? Damn. I should have brought up... Well, we don't have any extra fuel to leave behind, but we're this close to it. This is our refueling platform. Huh. We're just that close to it. Alright, so the way to get to the moon is put the moon on the edge of Kerbin and then just burn prograde. It's not any more complicated than that. If you can see the moon sort of rising over the horizon, then you're good. Which one am I? Where's the moon? Moon's over there. Put the moon on the edge of Kerbin, just as the moon's rising over the edge. And burn prograde. Where's prograde? There we go, F5, and let's burn. And so you'll see our apoapsis rising here. 1,000,000 meters out. Got 200 meters per second of delta V remaining. 100 and some. Okay. This gets me to the moon. Hey. And actually, you see this? It gets us into the moon's SOI. The moon's SOI pulls us a little bit and it drops us. It makes the periapsis hit the surface of Kerbin, which is what we want in the long run. We've actually gone a little bit too far. I want to be just barely entering the moon's sphere of influence. Let me switch over to the moon. Double click. Is this the moon? It is the moon. Okay. For a second there, I thought it was Minmus for some reason. So this is our periapsis at the moon. What I want to do is I want to go back over to our retrograde. On the nav ball. We're on the retrograde now. I want to push this out. Just as far as I can be out. But still be captured by the moon. And maybe even not. Like, how's our... Do we have a periapsis after we've had our encounter with the moon? One of the things we can also do in this game is if I want finer controls over this kind of a burn, I can reach over here, I can thrust limit the engine, so that it just doesn't produce as much thrust for us. If I zoom back in over here, oop, okay, just barely. Now let's turn back over to the prograde and just tap ourselves into the moon's sphere of influence. Here's the prograde, and back to the moon, and I'm just gonna... There we go. I'm just barely entering the moon's SOI now, but I am entering the moon's SOI. We have 100 meters per second of delta V on this crypt that we're not going to use. We brought extras, I guess. We're going to tell ourselves. And then what does this do to our craft? It doesn't look like our craft gets eaten alive. Let me switch back to following the craft. How does this affect our retrograde? Or... Or periapsis, I mean. 56. I think if I go a little bit deeper, we can make sure that this stuff gets, burned up on re-entry. 39 is fine. 32 is deadly. Yeah, we can see it, how it would die. So this is what I'm going to commit to. We are going to follow this course out to the moon. We get caught up in the moon's sphere of influence at 2.2 million meters over the moon. We release our satellites, and then our satellites go on to do the rest of the mission with what I presume between them should be about 500 meters per second of delta V, and they should only need 50 or something, is what I'm thinking. I could be wrong about that. But we should need well less than 300 meters per second of delta V, and I know they got that. I just know it. F5. And shall we go? Should I deploy anything? I don't think I need to deploy anything. Let's go to here. Camera free, no, camera orbital. And we're leaving the Earth behind. And we're coming up on the moon. As seen here. And we've just entered into the moon's sphere of influence. Time warp is complete. So, are we really committing to this? Yes. Well, then why don't you hit F5? Shh, it'll be... Shh, we're good. F5, I'm committing to it. So, I think what I want to do is throw off our lower stage here. Well, how do we want to do this? We need to decelerate our satellites while accelerating the liquid fuel stage. So I think I get on my retrograde for that. Right? And now our satellites are facing, in the way that we came from. So when we do this explosive force, it's going to push them away. It's going to decelerate them in reference to the moon. It's going to accelerate that in reference to the moon, which is going to help it deorbit itself, is my concept. In 3, 2, 1. Do it. Okay. We are now free of the old liquid fuel container there. Let's switch over to the liquid fuel. We can't. But our periapsis down there, ours is 45 and we got decelerated. They got accelerated, so theirs should be even more deadly. 45 would be fine. Are we no longer in the moons? Yeah, we're still in the moons. I'm like, what? I'm reading this wrong. What is this? Okay. Hi. Hi, Kerbal. Why is that like that? And yet this is like this. It's kind of giving me two different readings right now. Which is about on par for this game. It's fine, though. I'm pretty sure we are okay. We have 30 units of monoprop in order to make this stuff work. I think we can go ahead and deploy our solar panels now. They are right next to each other. I shouldn't have deployed them. Because they'll be sort of touching each other. It's fine. We can live with it. It's just headcanon stuff. You see, because they're part of the same craft, they don't have physics that interacts with each other, but, you know, I should have kept them in. We're going to now warp ourselves up toward the apoapsis, up to this apoapsis. This periapsis. This, whatever it is. And then we're going to decelerate. In fact, I should probably figure out exactly how long this burn is going to be with our monoprop. And in fact, does it not tell me? Because it's just monoprop? It might be the case. Wow, it took a lot more delta V than I thought it was going to take in order to get the circularization from this height. See that? To get the capture, it's taking 200 meters per second of delta V in order to get a lunar capture right here. Are we just going around the moon or just near? We're just barely capturing it, and the idea is we're going to place one satellite out here and one satellite out here. We want to break from the moon's sphere of influence, but it just barely, at just barely any speed whatsoever, so they'll always hang just in front of the moon and just behind it without actually being captured by the moon. So we went into capture just to get ourselves positioned correctly. We're going to break capture and live in the same orbit around Kerbin that the moon is, just a bit ahead of it and just a bit behind it, and that'll be a pair of headphones for the moon, a perfect little comms system. And right there is where we begin to capture things. Okay. It has no idea of the burn time because we're going to be using RCS and Kerbal sucks. Alright then. Let's do a little warp to get ourselves to stop spinning. Let's come up to near this. We're 8 minutes away. I can't imagine that this burn will take like 3 minutes. For 200 meters per second with RCS on crafts this light, I'm going to start the burn at a minute ahead of where we need to be. That's my plan. So that'd give me, 2 minutes total to execute. And we will be burning retrograde. I need RCS on to be able to move this craft at all. SAS off. SAS on. And now H. Start the burn. So, keep an eye on our monoprop resources as we attempt to capture the moon here. This is our burn, and it's looking like it's about a minute-long burn, maybe a little bit less, about a 45-50 second long burn. I started a minute early. It'll be fine, it's no big deal. Probably don't need the SAS. Turn it off. No, turn it back on. We were immediately starting to drift. Almost half of our monoprop resources gone. There we go. Capture is imminent. We have a Mooner capture now. SAS off, RCS off. Okay. We have captured the moon. Or been captured by it, depending on how you want to look at it. At about 2.2 million meters above the moon. Now, how have we been draining our balls? Are our balls being drained evenly? No, we've completely sucked that ball clean. And then we haven't sucked these balls clean at all. We need to even out these balls. We can't have one of these guys, you know, with more juice than the other. That really kind of sucks too that it did that. Then it drained one first. Fuel priorities were different. It's something I could have caught in the VAB, I guess. You don't think about it with monoprop. But so what I can do is I can try to even this out. What do we got? 6.5, so we want 3.25 in each. 6.6. What? Is that the devil's number? Cool, that makes it easy. 3.33 each. Two. 3. That's probably good. There you go, 3.4. I think I just switched exactly from 3.4 in that one to 3.2. It's hard to do. That's why I was like, that's probably good enough. All right, so 3.4 and 3.26. Now let's do it for these balls here. I'm going to get 3.4 on this side of things. Ah, 3.32. That's perfect. That's as close to perfect as you can get without going over. Let me try perfecting this one. Yep. Look at that. I actually did it. 3.32, 3.32, 3.34, 3.34. I'm a freaking god of this game. What the hell? F5, this horrible game that I hate. It was great. So now the plan is to get to the retrograde of the moon here and break our capture prograde just barely, release one of them, get recaptured, right? We've got 2 probes here. Yeah. In fact, they can just separate and do their own thing now, can't they? Each one of them can do its own maneuver at this point. There's no reason for them to drag each other around. So let's just, for the sake of not screwing up our inclination and that kind of stuff, let's just get on the retrograde here before I decouple. And then we're going to decouple. Okay. We're good. RCS off. RCS off. Alright. Did anybody get, like, kicked out of the moon for that? No, but you see how there's 2 lines and they do deviate a little bit because we, you know, had a little bit of force between us. Everybody's fine? Nobody lost any components or anything? You're spinning pretty significantly. Let's, little time warp just to settle things down. And now pick one that is going to try to go prograde on this. I've never done this before. It's an idea. Does it work? I don't know. But my idea is probably somewhere around here. Maybe a little bit later even. Because we're going to be rotating as we go. We get out here. And we blow out just ever so slightly prograde. Wait. What? Okay, no, that is the correct amount of force that is required. But when we break from the... Have I completely underestimated what's required here? Because see how when we break, let's just leave at a different time. Yeah. It's all about leaving at the correct time. Leaving the moon's sphere of influence at the right moment. I have no idea what that moment is going to be. Okay. I was starting to doubt, but this is what I'm looking for. Is something like this. We want to be, you know, in line with the moon, and... So it looks like the closest we can get is something like this. And then we need a radial component to our burn as well to try and get it to match as we leave. Oh, let's click it down here. E. It's low power, please. Lower power? I don't know if this can be made to work the way that I'm thinking. You know, that's always in the back of my head. Can you do what you're trying to do? But you see what I'm trying to do. Let's increase the amount of change. And I can change when we leave. There we go. It's allowing me to change the moment that we leave. And so we're about to lose, you know, breaking the moon's SOI at all. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. This looks like this is as close as I can get it to start. And then we get broken from the moon and then we twist it. I think is the idea here. We get away from the moon and then we do the twist. And in fact, knowing that, I mean, it's only 0.6 meters per second of delta V, so I'm fine with this. Is fine. We'll try this. We'll see how it goes with this one. We'll break from the moon, and then we'll give it give it a twist to try and match it perfectly. Where will we be exiting the moon's sphere of influence is a question. Moon escape is happening there. Okay. I don't know. Let's see what happens. I've tweaked it, much as I can reasonably think to tweak it. As infinitesimally small as we want these adjustments to be, I'm taking this already tiny or already very low power part, and I'm reducing its thrust control to next to nothing. Just one thrust on the thrust limiter is my plan presently. My present plan. Let's go to this thing. It should give me a minute before it when we warp to it. That's how these things work. Okay. T-minus 50 seconds to the burn. And then where is the burn? Arceus on. And it's over here. On the ball. And, have I done it accidentally already? What's happening? Give me a little drift. Okay, T-minus 2. 1. Don't worry about it. We're missing our window. But only slightly. Okay, I am burning forward right now. You can barely tell, but I am burning forward right now. Okay. That hits the moon again. We don't want that. But just hang with me for a second here. There we go. Maybe. Listen, whatever. It's a bit ugly. What we're having to look at here. But we should be exiting the moon's sphere of influence now. I believe it. Naruto. I'm not exactly sure when that happens. Oh, here it is. There's where it happens. Okay, moon escape is up there. I'm not F5ing because I'm not at all confident in what's going on right now. I'm going to warp up to here. Okay, moon escape will be occurring on the moon's retrograde pretty closely. That's what I was going for, I think. At this point, I don't fucking know. Mephistopheles said, by putting the satellites just outside of the moon's SOFI, are you trying to put them in a pseudo-geostationary orbit around the moon? That's exactly correct, Mephistopheles. Pair of headphones clinging to the ears of the moon. Pseudo-stationary. Let's break the SOI. I believe we just did. And now, I need to adjust, our present orbit so as to match the moon's as closely as I can. Cannot add maneuver node, control is locked. Oh, because we're in warp. I'm like, why? I've got comms, I've got electricity. Why? So, let's get above it. And see what we would have to do. First, it looks like a little retrograde wouldn't hurt us. And radials and retrograde is what I expect. It looks like that's the... Oops, no. Not normals. Like that was the wrong radial. If I burn like this... I can get our periapsis where we are, and then burn down. You don't want to get recaptured by the moon, is the tricky part here. Looks like that's getting us recaptured by the moon. It's getting very close to the moon's thing. There, that gets recaptured. That gets recaptured. But I'm getting closer and closer, I swear to you. If you look, like, it's hard to tell. It would be better if I could, focus Kerbin and look dead down on this. And then find my maneuver node again. I promise you I'm actually making this better over time. That is incredibly close to the moon's everything there. And then honestly, at the periapsis of the moon around, of a month on Kerbin, we could make another adjustment to pull our apoapsis down from it being a little bit up, but I think that's the maneuver right there. For 58.3 meters per second at delta V. I think that's what we want to do, and it's coming up in 6 minutes, and I think I'm going to need, for a 58.3 meter per second thing, I'm going to need a little bit more power than what I had left on here last time. Sorry? Yaw? Pitch? Alright, you don't have to worry about it, Pawn. Just... In fact, yeah, it shouldn't be for yaw or pitch or roll, or port or starboard. It should only be... Oh wait, that's turning them all on. Off, off, off. Look at this game's interface, man. It is just for fore aft. 4x throttle is on too. I can use throttle? Okay. Did I do that? Who did that? I might have done that. How much power have I given you? 30? Have 33% of your usual power. 1/3 of regular power, and we'll see. We will see. Node coming up in 5 minutes now. And you go back to the craft. That's the node. If I warp to it, I'm gonna have 5. I think this is as good as I can make this go. Warp to it. Leaving me a minute. Leaving me a minute! Like you're supposed to do. You didn't leave me... Oh wait, no, it did. T-1. Alright. Give me RCS control. Push me over toward our target. Get me there. Where in God's name is it on the ball? Okay, we found it. I'll try 4x throttle. I'll try actually using the throttle here. Okay. SAS. And burn. Yeah, it's working. 4x throttle does work. Let's go. I've done half the burn one side of it. SAS off. We'll go the other side and complete it, and hopefully that'll, like, even things out. So at about plus 30, I'll start the other... plus 20, I'll start the other side of this burn. Plus 20. Go. This is what we want to see. I get as much of this as I can. Okay. Within 0.3 meters per second of our intended burn, we have completed the burn. And this is our current trajectory. We're a bit off of the moon on this side of things. But on this side of the things, boy, are we damn close to it. Let's focus Kerbin again so I can get as close as possible in this view. Yeah, we're real damn close there. Real damn close. I would love to be able to see it a little bit closer and know whether we're on the inside or the outside. It looks like we're on the inside of it. Yeah, it looks like we've got pretty much the same inclination. We're just a touch on the inside, which would mean a little bit of a prograde burst could get us where exactly what we want. SAS off. I've just been wasting monoprop. SAS on. Where's prograde? This way. And now we're actually getting recaptured by the moon. That's how subtle this is right now. There you go. A little bit more prograde. Look at that. Look at that. I think that's about as perfect as you can get. Okay. We've done it, is what I'm going to say. And then what we do want to do is we want to get up to that periapsis, and we want to do, we want to correct this side of things too, so that we're not drifting away or toward the moon. I think we would be drifting away from it, so it would be fine. It would happen so slowly over time, but I wanna match this as close as we can, without going over Price is Right rules. I'm happy with this. F5, F5, F5. Now that we've done that, we should concern ourselves with the other satellite, because it's going to take a minute for the moon to get all the way over there. About half a month. Half a Kerbin month, anyway. Which I think is actually not that long. I doubt we can switch. Yeah, we can't transfer. We'll need to use map view to move to the other craft. So, which are you? I would like to rename you, actually, which I believe I can do here? Rename vessel. So, Mooner Headphones Mark 1. Which cup is it? The right or the left? Mooner Headphones, aft. It's the retrograde. We could say retro. Mooner Headphones retro. Reftro? Mooner Headphones retro. And you are... What type of... You are a relay, okay. Alright, so let's head back to the tracking station. Actually, F5. Let's head back to the tracking station. How long have we been here? 2 hours. It's about time for a live stream break, actually. So, this should be our other earphone, our other cup of the phones. Here. Yep, you've got most of your monoprop still intact. Good. Electric charge looks nice. And you are still captured around the moon. So, we're going to go to a live stream break, because we've been here for 2 hours. 7-minute live stream break, good chance to grab a pee, leave a poo, whatever you gotta do. Grab a snack, refill your drink, grab a new ice pack for your neck, take some medication, smoke some green, fuck a Zoomer, whatever you gotta do in the 7-minute live stream break, whatever you can in that period. So fuck 2 Zoomers. You can meet me back here in 7, and we're going to try and get the other cup into the correct position, and then we go back to the aft, and we correct its, on a very fine degree, we correct it, so that it's always trailing the moon. There's a lot left to do here to get this perfect. And then we got to we're going to need some really big burners, because Minmus has an incorrect inclination. We've got to come back, we're going to correct Minmus's inclination. That's going to need a really big engine. But yeah, let's have ourselves a live stream break. I will play some music. I will roll some ads so that we don't get any ads when we're, actually trying to do stuff around here. I still hear the music in the background. So the mute feature isn't working. Okay. Well, just pausing the game will do then. 7-minute live stream break, ads, music, that sort of a thing. What are we listening to next? Next up is going to be Jazz Club by Chris. Don't go anywhere, pawn not out.
Jazz Club. Really flying the music. Okay. And it's so packed in here. The band sounds great.
Right now is the saddest I've ever been. Until now. Sadder than I'm sadder with each passing moment. I'm much sadder now than a second ago. And sadly, even sadder now still. I look back at life 20 seconds ago, when first I sang of my sorrow. Was a happier time than I'm living through now, which is bliss compared to what's to follow. Sadder than I'm sadder with each passing moment. I'm much sadder now than a second ago, and sadly even sadder now still. Once my heart was filled with gloom and despair, but those carefree days were over. A bottomless pit of bleak, hopeless dread, but that's when I was in the clover. Sadder than I'm sadder with each passing moment. I'm much sadder now than a second ago.
And sadly, even sadder now still. Welcome back to a twitch.tv/RonanPawn live stream on twitch.tv/RonanPawn. Also on youtube.com/RonanPawn at youtube.com/RonanPawn. You can watch wherever the hell you want to watch. Only thanks to the irrational amounts of labor and effort that I have to put in order to support multi-streaming with all of these services and platforms like Stream Elements taking a shit constantly in my face. Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. We are in orbit around the Moon. See it there? See it? See it there? We've brought a pair of comm satellites up to the Moon. There's the... It's almost a shot. There you go. We've brought a pair of comsats up to the Moon. This is one of them. What we're trying to do is to put them in orbit of Kerbin, not of the Moon. We've got them at just barely the edge of the Moon's sphere of influence. We're trying to break that sphere of influence so as to put one of them just behind the Moon, one of them just in front of the Moon, and then have two comm satellites that are always just a front and behind the Moon, so that we've got complete coverage of the Moon all the time, a sort of pseudo geostationary orbit for the Moon, because we can't achieve geostationary orbit of the Moon because you would have to be outside of its gravity well for that to work. Who is this? Tim? Some call you Tim. Tim's Virtue. Coming across your channel today was the best part of my day. Wait a second, this is in quotes. Your streaming skills and energy are incredible. I'd love to be a loyal, genuine supporter. Add me on Discord. It's in quotes, so somebody said it at some point. I don't know whom though. So that's what we're doing right now. We've actually already gotten one of these satellites in orbit of Kerbin. And you can see it just there, just outside of the Moon on this side of things, but look at that side of things. See how this curve just blends together with that line? It is perfect on that side. We're going to make it perfect on this side once we get to that side, but while we're waiting, let's try and figure out what we got to do in order to get this guy now to exit the Moon ahead of it, which is going to be the extra double special tricky part. I don't know how. I don't know how, I don't know where, I don't know when. So I'm going to add the maneuver. And we're going to... What do we do? Let's focus the moon for this. And... switch over to my maneuver node thing. Get to some very subtle controls. And let's add in some prograde to first break the sphere of influence of the moon. A little bit more power, maybe. Okay, did we do it? Yes. And holy crap, look at how big of a kick you can get from the moon just by getting grabbed into its SOI and then being released at exactly the right moment. Gimme what? Gimme 2 shakes, gimme 2 shakes, baby. I don't know. Gimme something. I want you. I'm gonna drag you around. No, oh, fuck. I think I've just destroyed this thing by trying to grab it one place and it grabbing somewhere else. I gotta throw it away. Give me another one. Add maneuver. Give me enough prograde on it. Sorry. Give me enough prograde on it to break the SOI. Why is nothing happening? Kerbal space fucking programming. Idiots who made the game. What the fuck is going on here? Dipshits. What if I remove? It worked the first time. I'm trying to be subtle. I'm trying to do small things. And KSP is saying, I'm incapable of subtle. But that's cool, right? No big deal. We're just talking about space. Fucking rocket. We're just talking about literal rocket science, right? So subtle, no. We're fine without subtle, aren't we? I'm gonna use this, I guess, son. More? Trying to find a place at which we exit the moon's SOI reasonably well. I would rather grab and drag, but we saw how well that worked last time. Okay. I was just grabbing and dragging, and the game just switched to a different thing. Fucking awesome. Thank you. Thank you for that. God damn, what a piece of shit these guys made, huh? What am I seeing here, friends? We already did this once before, so I know it can work. Oh, hello! The maneuver that I destroyed before was probably still there and making weird shit happen. Oh my fucking god. Just give me some DV. Give me some DV. There we go. Now we've got an exit. We would want to exit the leading side. So about there, in theory. But, look what happens when we do. So that doesn't seem right. I don't think we want to get flung out of the solar system. Mm-hmm. So, do we have to perhaps leave earlier? If I touch it down there, who knows what'll happen, right? Like, the way that we're just getting fucking flung. What in the God's name? For 1 meter per second of delta V, I can do that? For 1 meter per second of delta V. I feel like you're lying to me. I feel like maybe that's not what's happening. Aha! Is this what's happening first, and then we hit the moon again, and then we get flung? It's one of those things. They're showing me lies from the other side of... So I was right in the way that I wanted to do this, I think. You see where our exit is. This is our exit. Moon escape. And I feel like that's where we want to be leaving. But when we leave like that, it says that that's what's gonna happen. I have trouble believing that. Does anybody else have trouble believing that? So this is, we escape there? It's there, but we'll be there when it happens? Is what you're saying? Okay. Then leave later. Why does that suddenly get recaptured? It's like a second moon encounter or something like that. If I add a little touch more prograde. You see what it's saying is going to happen if we do. And where it's going to happen, too. I need this to be happening a lot closer to, to the moon's zone. See, but the problem is, like, it works back here. But the issue is this will put us behind the moon, I'm pretty sure. There's our moon escape. But where do we enter this? I feel like this is what we just did, and this gives you, you know, this puts you behind the moon, not affront it. See, but it says we're escaping in front of the moon, but you've got to realize that, like, we're spinning around the moon, and then so by the time that we're leaving, it's probably... I don't know. I feel like this is the wrong. And I also definitely don't completely understand, like, the Hohmann mechanics at work in a movement like this. That say for the same amount of less than 1 meter per second of delta V, we can be flung out of the goddamn planetary sphere of influence, or we can just barely exit the moon and keep going, kind of a thing. I feel like we... Not only do I not know what's right, I don't know how I would find out what's right here. I kind of can't even imagine what needs to happen for me to, like, discover what I need to know. For 1 meter per second. My main thing is, like, I need to exit affront the moon. So if I just aim to do something like this, and then by the time we get to where we're going, it's telling me that I'll be here. And now let's say I exit that, and I burn retro. Look at how much work I need to do. And if I were to drop this one and just see that one, and it would have been 215 meters per second. We have that. Do we? At half? I don't think we do. I don't think we do. I don't know how you do this then. I have no idea how I would get something leading the moon from orbit of the moon. How do we exit the front of it without getting whipped out of the fucking solar system? Unless everything in Kerbal Space Program is lying to me, which is entirely possible. We are F5'd. I will F5 again. And then, just out of curiosity, let's just do some time warp and let some time pass. And see how long it's going to take to get to the other side of shit. Oh, this isn't going to take long at all. Yeah. Oh, fuck! I pressed the wrong button. Tap, tap, tap with the wrong finger. We might actually be at exactly the place I wanted to be, though. So there is that. Because it's this guy that I'm interested in now. I'm going to switch to Mooner Headphones Retro. Been up here for a week, 7 days on this mission. I can always F9 to before I accidentally did all that. But this one I at least know what I need to do. And you see how the periapsis is a little bit offline there? But up here, like where we are right now, it's very, very close. I think it only gets closer over time. I'm going to get to the point where these lines just intersect each other. Coming up on it. Or at least get as close as they get. If they don't intersect. Like, at this point I'm actually... I'm seeing the... You know, the straight lines that go into the curve, and they're throwing off my, what I think is happening here. We're now 9 days up here. But we're incredibly close. And so what I want to do is I want to correct the other side of things. From here. I think I would have been better back a little bit. Nonetheless, we're here. We're now. We can always F9 if it doesn't work out, so let's give it a go. Make sure we're not time warping. And I need to retrograde. On the other side of things. Oh, no, there it is. So I want to pull that down to be more in line with the moon. I'm just doing the part of this mission that makes any bit of sense to me. There you go. Okay, now let's hold it like this. That's pretty nice all the way around. The worst part is like here. That looks pretty damn good. For as close as I can get to it, anyway. If I were to, like, make a maneuver, can I focus the maneuver? I don't think I can focus on the maneuver. I would like to get closer to this stuff to see how good it is, but, you know, from a top-down perspective. Just watching the edges there. It's pretty good. It's not perfect, but, the fuck do you want from me? It looks like it needs a little bit of a left or a right movement, which we can do with a radial. I don't know which direction. We would want this radial to be. I can't tell with the lines being where they are, so I'm just going to try one and see. See if it gets better or worse. It's getting better. That is decidedly better. This still looks like the worst spot. I'm gonna F5. That looks perfect. That looks like you can't get that any goddamn better. Look at this. Look at these lines. I love what I've done here. Unfortunately, I don't know how to do the next part. But this particular satellite here, brilliant. Brilliantly positioned. Doing its thing. There's Kerbin. There's the moon. It's giving us comms. Now if we could just get this one into the same position, we'll be beautiful. F5, switch to, and I just don't know how to do this at all. I'm completely at a loss for not only, like, how to do it... Where'd the moon go? What? Oh, no. Okay, I got it. I see what we're... Let's see what's going on here. The game tells me that if I add even the slightest amount of prograde to break the moon's SOI from the position that would put me out on the front of it, which would be like here, then good God is basically what it says. It says to me, good God. This is, we would go around all the way. That's really bad. That's actually not the right place for anything. Give me more prograde. Yeah, there you go. We're talking about a meter per second of prograde is what I'm talking about here. Less than, even. But I'm being told that if I do that, look at what happens. How much velocity we pick up. The best way to do it is when we exit behind it, but I don't want to exit behind it. My whole point is to get in front of this bitch. These numbers, this is way better now. What I'm seeing now, it's almost like we fixed the game or something. This is far more believable. But you see, when we've got it at this very near to the same orbit place, we've got an exit that's on the retrograde of the moon. We need an exit that's on the prograde of the moon, and it looks like, just as a matter of physics, if we exit on the prograde of the moon, we either get flung or we get fucked. I don't know. One or the other here. I'm gonna actually go around the moon to try and figure out what needs to happen. So, close you down. How many times am I gonna right click and then click on the thing that says X where it's supposed to close before you do the fucking thing? I'm gonna go to like here. For real though. Our craft is going to go to a position where when it starts to burn, like, actually the position would want to be, like, over here because of the rotation of the moon. By the time we get there, like, exiting here, we'll be in front of the moon. So we'd want to be burning with something like that, right? Cannot add maneuver. Now you can, you prick. What do we got? 0.7 meters per second? There's 0.1. That looks like it exits on the front of the moon. I swear this goddamn game is giving me, like, different information depending on where my craft is in space when I make the node, the maneuver node. Am I crazy? That's why I moved us around, because I'm like, this is entirely different than what it was showing me before. So what did I say? I said you'd want to be like here. To exit on the front of the moon. That was my guess. And then if I add more prograde, it pulls us more into line. This is what I expected to see before. And why is it different now? Why is it working now? Welcome to Kerbal Space. You will never have an answer to that question. Why does it make sense? But it didn't before? I don't know. For 2 meters per second of delta V, I can work with this. If this is what I hope that it's going to be, which is it puts us out on the front of the moon. I like where our periapsis is going to like end up, more or less. Actually reduce in order to get the periapsis more in line with the moon like that. And then once we're at the periapsis, I can do something about it. I'm gonna F5 and I'm gonna try this. I don't know what the hell is going on. How could I? It's Kerbal Space Program. Let's warp to this maneuver and let's just see what happens. See, now the exit shows us... It shows our moon escape being, again, kind of behind. And because of the rotation of the moon, it falls even more so behind as we go, is I think what I'm seeing here. Yeah, so now I don't want to do this. But now that I'm, like, at the moon's retrograde, I think what I want to do is I want to get to the point, physically, in space and time, where I think we need to be, which is past... It's past this mark, you know, it's got to be like out here, because if we're blowing out like here, by the time we get there, it'll be on the front of the moon. So I'm just going to go to where I think we need to be, and then I'll make my little maneuver node. I think further. Here, around here. Now I make my maneuver node. Okay. And we are leaving the goddamn solar system like we were before. I think this might be right, though. I think this might be correct. And I just keep burning prograde. It's so like, the UI here just sucks. So we're all on the same page. And now it's just, it might as well be destroyed. What are we, oh, 250, I see it. For 327 meters per second of delta V, I can make nothing happen. What am I, what? I'm burning prograde. This isn't like pulling it back anymore. Yeah, this is just driving us further and further out. Trying to think of how this would possibly be. Like, is this just... Am I violating physics with what I'm trying to do here? We're going around the moon, right? No, we're going around the moon. We burn to just outside the moon's orbit. And I guess the idea is if we're coming off the leading edge kind of a thing, we're being flung from the moon. When we break it, we're carrying all of that momentum that we were bringing with us around the moon. You know, we used it when we were going toward the retrograde of the moon to the momentum to sort of cancel ourselves and break out. I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. It seems like we should be able to just sort of but barely break from the moon and just float there. If it's going to be like this, the only way that I can get this satellite into the place that I think I want it would be to desync, you know, break out of the moon's orbit the way that we just did the last one in the retrograde, desync it so that we're going faster than the moon, we're going slower than the moon around Kerbin, whatever, get to the leading edge of the, you know, fall all the way around kind of a thing. It would take months of Kerbal time to make it happen with the kinds of delta V that we have to play with in monoprop. Michael says, no maneuver knows, just wing it like always. You know, I'm down for that just to confirm that this is in fact the way of the world, because it just doesn't figure to me. It's one thing to come in to the moon's SOI and deep and grab some, and then you go deep and you burn some stuff, you get the Hohmann effect, it's Hohmann transfer, you get that O-berth effect rather, and O-berth comes in and he's like, here, you're already making speed, here, have some more speed. Now you're going faster, you came in, and it took you a certain amount of time to come in, but now you're burning at the you know, periapse in here, you're going as fast as you're going to do, so now you're going to exit faster than you entered, so you get to keep all that extra delta V, you know, that kind of a thing, you can keep all that speed. Okay, we are on the very edge of being in the moon's SOI. All I want to do is drop out of the moon's SOI and be in orbit around Kerbin. I don't understand why that would give me this crazy-ass fucking fling. And it didn't when we did the retrograde move. The retrograde move managed to perfect. Look at how close we are to the moon's orbit there with our line. But I can't do it on the leading edge of the moon? Come on. Physics. Quit being an asshole, physics. Dickhead physics. Oh, no. No. Get this up too high. Let's get you down to that old 1 meter per second of speed we're going to use. And then, considering the rotation of the moon, I probably exit here, and then by the time we get to where we're actually breaking through, this has swung around to the front of it. That's my idea. Let's warp up to it. See what I'm saying? See how the exit is finding its way onto? If anything, we need to be leaving later. Like, that's perfect, but by the time we get there, then this is gonna be like over here. And that's not what we want. This mission is
Does
taking...
not compute. Does not compute. Does not compute.
taking a significant amount of in-game time. I'll tell you that. And who was that, by the way? That was Michael? Yeah. Nothing's really computing right now. We're moving, like, so slowly around the moon, and then the moon is moving around, like... There's some magic in this old top hat, is the problem. Trying to find the exact moment. I think that's why it hasn't been working. I think it just sort of connected with me. The idea that we need to, like, in reference to where I'm putting this thing, it's like, no. You gotta go around the moon a couple of times to get to the point where you would, like, I think maybe we've got some hope. If my brain just made some sense of this. Go to here. You see how we're just only now coming into the dark side of the moon? Because it keeps rotating with us? Something's starting to click in my head. I feel like there's hope for us now, and we did have to, like, go months into the future in order to be leaving at the correct time. Give me you, move you out a little bit, add some more DV on here. Well, no, we can, like, the DV we've got is fine. This might just be right. Can you imagine that? Like, it looks like it's behind it, but as slowly as we're rotating around it, maybe that might be correct? I don't know. I'm F5ing from here because I feel like this is a fine place to leave. We're only doing a little bit of an eighth of a turn around the moon. If I keep doing like that, it looks like we exit behind it, but it's going to take so long for us to get there that by the time we get there, what's behind it has become what's in front of it. I think that might be the case. I think I'm not just talking out my ass here. Although I may just be talking out my ass here. I've F5'd. We can come back. Whoa! Huh? How do you like me now? Give me a couple of minutes to, like, look at what's happening here and see if I can't adjust it a little bit, because I think this is right now. I think it was illegible for a while. I don't think I'm making Too significant of an impact fucking with it like this. This is fine. I'm gonna burn this. I'm gonna burn this T-minus 2 minutes. And I'm gonna hope that this actually puts us out on the front side of the moon. No F5s from here in case it doesn't. So RCS on. Okay, that's pretty good. And we're also close enough. I'm gonna burn it. Why does this one... Maybe this one doesn't have that enabled on it. What? What? What is happening? Four aft is on. 4 by throttle is on. H is doing nothing. H is doing nothing. Throttle is doing nothing. Are you... control point fucked or something? How about N? N, okay. I don't understand. What the fuck is going on? Why would this be different than the other one? Control from here. Control point reversed. It should be... Okay. We're on the wrong side of everything now suddenly because fuck this game. I think it was a control from here issue. I think maybe it was it still thought it was being controlled from the other guy or something. I think when I clicked control from here, that probably sorted it out, and now control point reversed works correctly. Welcome to fucking Kerbal Space Program. It never goddamn ends. This shit. Okay. I need to be able to see what the hell's going on out here, too. We're 45 seconds past our burn point. Every time I make a subtle adjustment, we kind of lose it. It runs from me in the direction that I'm pushing. Okay. We've got something. I'm closing this down. And I'm gonna live with this. And we're gonna see what happens. Let's go. Manual warp. No F5. See how we're exiting on the front? This is what I wanted. And then when we do exit, like at the moment that we exit, I would love to be doing a maneuver, but I feel like if I put a maneuver on the edge of it, it's Kerbal Space Program, it's not going to work. I think we can F5 at this point. I'm F5ing. I think I need to break the SOI first and then immediately. Immediately create a node. Okay, we've broken the SOI, and so now where these two cross, which is about there, give me a maneuver. And we're gonna get the... Hi. We're gonna get these two to match. Which will be a combination of some radial and some retrograde. So, give me a little bit of power. Retro. And then radial out, I would think. I would be wrong. Radial in. Pulling that retrograde right down to where we are, and then... Or that periapsis. And then pulling just a little bit off. Pushing past the moments where it looks like we're going to grab the moon again. There's so many little fucking lines here. Including this one. What the hell is that? Whose is that? It's ours currently, I guess? This gets us very, very close to what we want for 54.9 meters per second. Which we definitely have in the tanks. Definitely, hopefully, have in the tanks. Definitely, hopefully, have it in the tanks. No doubt in my mind, except for the doubts in my mind. F5 with the node. And then, let's fucking go. So yeah, the main confusing point there was just the idea that we're moving so slowly around the moon, and the moon is moving so slowly around Kerbin, that it was almost like, you know, what it was projecting was so far behind what we could see at the moment that we were looking at it. It didn't make any sense. It didn't look like it made sense, but it did make sense. It just, what it was showing me as exiting on the rear side of the moon was, no, that was exiting on the front side, on the leading edge of the moon. It was just so far away. It was literally 20, it was like 14 days away or something. Okay, SAS here. And let's start burning. There you go. Within 0.1 meters per second of what I wanted to do. And look at that. Look at that. That's a set of headphones for the moon. Is what that is. Let's drop it. And then let's more closely inspect what we've actually created here. I don't like how much closer, you know, this one's quite a ways away. Got a nice, you know, gap there. Whereas this one, he's right fucking there. And, you know, the longer you leave him there, he might drift back into the SOI of the moon if things aren't, you know, leaned the way that we want them to be. But when I look at these lines, that line is dead on the line of the moon. Advanced orbital info. I don't know what else we could like possibly get out of this to try and tell ourselves that we're right or we're wrong. The lines are just so incredibly close. And then let's set you as a target, all these lines are right on top of them. This one had a lot more drift before we managed to lock it in, so I guess that's why it's further back. We actually went to 7 days forward in order to correct our periapsis, whereas I managed to do the second one a lot better. We exited the moon's SOI, we found the point at which it crossed, which was essentially our ascending descending node, you know, but not for an ascension or a descension. It was our radial in out node where they crossed, and we just did exactly the burn that we needed to put ourselves in exactly the spot that we need to be in, and now we're there. And I mean, it's not projecting that we're going to fall back into the moon. Can I, in settings, extend how many projections we get? Isn't that a thing? Conic patch limit 4. If I go up to 6, that's, I believe the idea is that's 6 rotations around Kerbin, or 6, maybe it's not 6 rotations, it's maybe 6 changes of sphere of influence. I don't know, but I'm going to change that back. We have no reason to believe that that satellite is going to fall back into the sphere of influence of the moon, other than that it's very close to the sphere of influence of the moon and a little bit scary. Where was it again? It was up here. It now says 6. It used to say 4. Let's knock it back down to 4. Apply, accept. Okay. I think we've just accomplished it. I think we've accomplished what I intended to do here. Which is... where's the moon? It should be behind this one. It should be back there. We've lost the moon. Now there's a problem. I've lost the moon. It should be behind you. I don't understand. What, we are in orbital view. Let's just go through the views again. So there's the sun. There's Kerbin. If Kerbin's there, the moon should be... like... oh, there it is. Is that it? No, that's a... it's a lens flare. Where the hell's the moon, man? Am I crazy? We're in front of the moon. We're orbiting around Kerbin that way. Where the fuck did the moon go? Are we so far away from it that it's very small and it just can't be seen in the blinds there? That's no moon. That's Michael. It's got to be in the plume of this, or getting lost somewhere in the darkening effect. It's got to be right back there, right? It shouldn't be that fucking small. Look at, see that? So it should be slightly to the right of the sun. I guess it is just getting lost in the halo of the sun. I mean, it ain't a tiny thing. Why can't I see the moon? There it is. Why can't I see the moon? We ain't that far from it. I don't know, but here's the final test. All right, F5. We've accomplished something. Here's the final test. Let's go to Moon Station Archimedes and switch on in. And now, Moon Station Archimedes does lose power overnight because it costs a lot to juice up this lab here. Ooh, we've gotten up to 122 science. Oh, hells yes. In just 38 days that it's been up here. Alright, it's generating at a faster rate than I thought it was going to. But so here's Moon Station. Oh, there's the moon! You can see it. Moon Station Archimedes. The idea would be, when we're like behind the moon, back here, Kerbin can't talk to us anymore, right? We should see this line bounce a little bit. It should find us, it should go like from here or from here, it should find us. Would be the idea. You know, and there might be a tiny little bald spot on the surface of the moon back there or something, but this system should give us full radio coverage. See? Boom. We bounce the signal from there to here. And now we're bouncing it from there to here. You see, this is what the headphones of the moon. You put them on and then you jam. We can hear Palpatoons. You guys seen For the Empire? The Star Wars fan thing made in Unreal Engine. It's funny. Let's check it out. It's very laid back and I like it. It's very Kevin Smith coffee house conversations kind of a thing is most of the humor. But then they develop their characters enough that they end up doing stuff with them. Pretty neat stuff. Anyway, you can listen to your Palpatoons on the dark side of the moon because we've always got a shot, bitches. We've always got a way to transmit to you. That's brilliant. Now, the only downside is that, as I say, it does take a lot of electricity to keep this guy running overnight. And we've got enough storage for maybe half of that night. Electric charge running low, running low, running low. And so right about here, yeah, when we are dead behind, we are, yeah, literally halfway through the mooner night, we just ran out of EC. So we know exactly the amount of charge that we would, you know, add to it. And we just double it. Just put another 2700 or something on there. Would be the idea. But I'm pretty happy to see how much science is being generated by this thing. That's brilliant. And I believe the mission that we just ran took like 21 days or something, so we don't got to worry about when we want to launch the next mission. We just can launch it whenever. That's a successful mission. I never even changed the in perpetuity. I will change the mission. Put a pair of headphones on the moon, and yeah, we did it. It's done. Get done, bitch. Get bitches. I don't know why when I'm successful I just feel like calling everyone bitches. But I do. This is what we did. Mooner Headphones Retro. We gotta change the name of this one, in fact. Let's head back to the tracking station. We'll do that. So Mooner Headphones. We go to Info. We double click here. Mooner Headphones Pro grade. Well, Pro? Just go with Pro. We got Retro and we got Pro. And that's pretty cool. Yeah, look at our network now. I like it. Getting a little messy, but it's not messy, really, when you think about it. What the fuck is this? This is some shit that the ScanSat wants us to do. Pay no mind to what ScanSat wants from us. What kind of debris have we got still out and up here? Show me just the debris. The debris. Mooner Headphones Mark 1 debris. That's the thing I said was going to be up there. That's the decoupler, the whatever you call it when it's not a decoupler. That was always going to be up there. But this guy shouldn't be up here. He has had a periapsis for the past 20-some days. 22 days, according to him. He's had a periapsis of 28. He should have been knocked down by aerodynamic forces, so we terminate him. Goodbye, Debris. Killing all crew in it. Why would you say killing all crew in it when there ain't no crew in it? Like, you're just freaking me out. Mooner headphones Mark 1 debris. Terminate. Goodbye. Moon Station Archimedes Mark 1 ship debris. What are you? Oh, you're on the surface. And then you have a periapsis of 43 for 35, wait, no, for 38 days, you too would have come down. That would have come down, that would have burned up, we're going to get rid of that. That was, that's the remnants of that orbit too. For the Moon Station Archimedes that we just looked at, when, who was it flew that? Wasn't me. It was a Kerbal. It was one of you Kerbals. Whoever flew that, they managed to miss the equator by about 30 degrees. Terminate. Moon Station Archimedes Mark 1 debris. You have had a periapsis of 43 for 38 days. You also go away. And then Condor Delivery Mark 2. What? Oh, okay. Condor Delivery Mark 2 has had a periapsis of... I can't read it because somebody decided it would be a brilliant idea to do light green text on blue. This one actually is valid debris. 75 kilometers. This is one that I just blanked on. Wasn't thinking clearly. Didn't work out. This is on the surface, and this is out at the moon. We only have 2 valid pieces of debris that we can't recover. Let's... What? What are you? You're splashed down. Can I go fly it? Just to see what it is? Is this where our boys came home? It's our heat shield, maybe? Yeah, it's the heat shield. Okay. Recover... Let's not recover the vessel. Let's just destroy it. It's been destroyed. Back to the tracking station. I don't think it's fair to recover a heat shield from the bottom of the ocean. I mean, actually, it's not fair to recover it either. It wouldn't have been destroyed. It would be at the bottom of the ocean forever. It stays at the bottom of the ocean forever. I've decided. Alright, that's a successful mission. That means that we get to pay ourselves for that successful mission. So let's get our calculator out and figure out what kind of mission it was. This was a position satellites mission. It required no crew. There was no science involved. The spheres of influence above LKO. High Kerbin orbit. And then just high moon orbit. That's it. It's just 2. What deduction and pay are you going to take because you had to remath it 500 times? None. Exacting exotic orbit. It was an exacting orbit. It was very weird to put something there. Extra crafts in the group? No. Milestone mission? No. Looks like this was worth $50,000 to us. 25,000 base pay, 100% bonus on that. 50,000 bucks. What we've got now is 490643. So we're going to 540. 540. Go ahead and go to the next day. Will you do? I will pay myself some monies. $540,000 Kerbucks in our pockets and a pair of headphones successfully placed. on the moon. What would be next? That's like, what the fuck else do you want from me? Is a serious question that I have. We might end this live stream early since I had a bad, like, couple of days here the past couple of weeks. I should take it easy. A 3.5 hour live stream after some 8 and 7 and 6 hour ones might be a good deal. Before we do, for my own pleasure, and also I think there might be something to fix out here. We're gonna take a trip out to Woomerang. We're gonna bust out a golf cart, and we're gonna put an engineer in it if Bill's around. Bill? Actually, one mock. You can... I don't want you getting stranded out there, whereas Bill could get stranded out there. One mock. I'll take you. I'll take it. Let's go out to Woomerang. So we transfer, in fact, we switch editor. And I think I need to do that again when you switch editor. One mock. And then launch to the Woomerang launch site. I think there might be something that needs to be fixed out here. I think the last time I looked at it, the terrain had shifted. Because it's Kerbal Space Program, and even the mods don't really work. Kerbal Constructs is what we've done out here at Woomerang. And we built ourselves a base. Take me to Sunrise. Damn, Woomerang. Alright. Let's go ahead and head down the way here in the little golf cart. Being careful on the brakes. Yep. Down the crawler way at Woomerang. There you go. Slow it down for that final little crunch here. PayCalc is still up on the stream. Thank you. I'm always disappointed at how long it takes for people to inform me of these things. But thank you for informing me of it eventually. All the time that I was in the VAB, loading Kerbals up, moving things around, choosing the guy, talking about what we were doing, it was just sitting there on the screen. I was AFK, just walked back, yeah. You and everybody else in chat, that's my problem. Is how many people gotta have in chat. So yeah, this is our base at Woomerang that we made using Kerbal constructs. I'm very happy with it. But also, last I looked, something had gone wrong over here. It's not wrong anymore. It was wrong once before, it's not wrong anymore. Alright, let's take a drive down there. Because what I was concerned about was this little bit of terrain where the airfield, the way that you get into the VAB here at Woomerang is you actually come in from underground. Because I couldn't reasonably be arsed to try and make a set of roads that connect these two things. It's really quite difficult in Kerbal Space Program. You see how the terrain is like made of tessellated, you know, it's just, there's no softness to this terrain at all. And your best bet is just to build things on flat terrain and use Kerbal construct systems in order to flatten the terrain. But for this, it was so far lower than what's up the hill that my only real bet was to come up with an imaginary way that we get from one of these places to the other. Yeah, you're fine. You got a golf cart. Just put it into low gear. Apparently we did. Alright. So this is what I was concerned about. And it looks fine. This is... You know, we've got the... It's a secure facility, so we don't just keep the doors open for anybody to come and go, but this is how you open the hangar doors and you can go into the cave, the system of tunnels that gets you into Area 52. But we've got ourselves both a VAB and crawlerway and everything connected to the launch pad to make, you know, justify the ability to actually launch significant craft out here, and to justify, you know, because we had to fly here the first time ourselves, which was just ludicrous what actually happened. I don't know what that is. We managed to land without an airstrip, and the very first order that I gave was, build me a goddamn airstrip. I'm not doing that again. So we now have an airstrip. And you may recognize it as being the island airstrip. Kerbal Constructs gives you the ability to do stuff like this, in case you're unfamiliar. Control K, and opens up a menu where we can spawn new things. And one of them would be a desert runway, or the VAB at level 1 and stuff like that. And you can get mod packs, model packs really, actually. I've got, I think it's called OSS? Yeah, OSS, which gives you a whole bunch of, like, extra buildings and facilities. The SMAB, which I guess is just this small assembly building. That's what we've got out here at Woomerang. And that allowed us to, you know, place these things into the world. Allowed me to flatten the terrain out. Allowed me to merge a couple of different things together. We're actually driving on a dirt runway that I repurposed to be a dirt road. That is connected to the island airstrip, which is what we're driving on now. And then all of that connects to over there where we just came from. I've repurposed a hangar, an aircraft hangar, to serve as our sort of underground tunnel entrance, with a generic building next to it to just kind of hide some stuff that needs to be hidden to make it look right. This is Woomerang. And it seems to be as though from load to load of Kerbal Space Program, sometimes the terrain is going to be correct and sometimes it isn't. That's my best guess, because we looked on a recent live stream and this was all like underground. So yeah, that's fine. I will tolerate that. You have to tolerate a lot of things if you're gonna play this game long term. That's definitely one of them that I can and will continue to tolerate. This is Woomerang. And it's also, you know, little projects like this why we're on actually day 9 of... This is the 9th Kerbal Space Program live stream, and what have we done in Kerbal Space Program in 9 days of like 7-hour-long live streams? Well, we're just getting to the moon. I haven't landed on it yet. Yes, I am the guy who's unlocked every tech tier in science mode in 45 minutes, and every like the entire game, 100% of the research tree, and unlocked all of the buildings and bought into all of them in an hour and 5 minutes in career mode. Yeah, I'm that guy. We're on day 9 and we've barely gotten to the moon. We're just now getting to the moon. But this is the kind of stuff that we've been doing instead, and it's been keeping me happy. It's been entertaining me quite a bit. And making it feel like, you know, like it's really your own space program. One of the things that I most lamented about KSP when it was in the hands of Squad was how dead Kerbin really, is. How dead the whole solar system feels, honestly, when you get out there and play. Like, you go around the planet, first off, it looks like shit if you don't install these mods. Like, it looks beautiful right now. That's because of modders, BlackRack in particular, have made it look good. It doesn't usually look good. So it looks like shit. It's barren, it's empty, there's kind of nothing going on anywhere. You get out in space, and you'd be surprised at how lonely space can be. Kind of empty, somewhat vacuum-like, hard to breathe, I've found, somewhat cold. Yeah, space is kind of, So just taking a little bit of time to populate your world with little things like this makes it feel a little bit nicer. If your brain gets too Kerbined out, says Michael, you could always bring back might. Minecraft is too easy. Boy, I don't know. I don't think I could do it anymore. That shit was hard. That shit was very hard, and I feel like it takes a day or two of grinding and dying to just remember how to even in might in the first place. And also, I don't think I can tolerate Minecraft looking the way that Minecraft looks out of the box. I need my graphical mods and stuff like that at this point. And might is a version of the game that I don't think you can do any of that stuff to. 1.6.4 or something like that. I don't know. Of course you could. We believe in you, says Michael. I don't think I'm too old. But we do have a hardcore save file in Minecraft that we did like 30 live streams in this thing. I built a skyscraper. I invented new systems that nobody has for Minecraft except for me. Like systems for how to make a spider grinder. You can go ahead and search on YouTube, how can I make a spider grinder? And what you'll get is how to make a poison spider grinder. XP, farm. How do you make that? If you don't have a poison spider farm and you're actually looking for spider farm, what you'll get is someone telling you how to make a poison spider farm that also works for regular spiders. It's not efficient. It's nobody has bothered to make. I made it. I bothered. I figured out what the absolute most efficient way to make a spider XP grinder farm is, whatever you call it. And I did that with a bunch of stuff. I did it with like pumpkins and watermelons. Automatic, all my stuff is automated in that save file. We could go back to that. I would be interested in heading back to might every now and again, like you're saying, Michael, to cope with the Kerbal brain. Pop up a little not Minecraft is too easy, but actual Minecraft with my hardcore world and all my visual mods to make it look nice. We never went and defeated the dragon. In a hardcore seed, I was too afraid, and there were so many other things to do. Is that the Minecraft world where you enslaved the villagers, replaced their homes with a slave compound, and ruled over them as a greedy capitalist overlord? No, of course not. Who would do that? Who would do such a thing? You mean the same way he does to the Kerbals here? No, what are you talking about? I'm a socialist. There might be a little bit of it's not slavery. We didn't do slavery. It's farm sharing. Yeah, it's crop sharing. Crop sharing is what we're calling it in the Minecraft world. So it's not slavery because we gave it a different name. If you're not familiar with the history of slavery, crop sharing was what they called it after slavery was abolished. They called it crop sharing. It was basically incentivized slavery. Where it's like, okay, you don't have to be slaves anymore, but what if you were? I'm not even kidding. The history of America is fucking horrendous. And the funny part is there were, like, the economy of the United States was so messed up at certain times that it actually did make economical sense to go ahead and, no. Crop sharing, yep. We're making some money anyway. Well, that's Woomerang for you. I think just for the sake of, catching up with my health and stuff like that, we'll call this live stream a little bit early. I'll tell you what we can end it on, other than just a tool around Woomerang, which was fun. You might want to have a look at you're an engineer, aren't you? Who's this again? One Mock, you're an engineer. You might want to have a look at why your rear end is, floating. Oh, your front end, too. You might... It's fine. I'm gonna recover, though. I don't want to leave One Mock out here and forget about him. What we'll close on for a closer. For a closer. Oh, look at that. That's kind of pretty. For a closer, I'll show you my my music player again that I've been writing in Python that I call PyAmp. It is 100% now. Completely done except for the parts that aren't done. We're at like phase 1 development is complete is what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure I've covered pretty much everything that I want out of it. So have a look. In fact, you can just join me on the Get Real scene. You just get rid of them titties, and then these titties need to... Oh, those are nice titties. I'm just closing down some things, don't worry about it. Join me over here on the Get Real screen. So here's PyAmp. This is my do not mind the console window, the Python console window. This is my music player application that I've been writing. I have recently replaced all of the digits here. Used to be a font that looked somewhat like this. I have made my own font. Well, I haven't made my own font. I have made my own sprite sheet for the digits. And in fact, I could show you that. Let me just put this over here and find them for you. Under there, and then ice cream. Looks like Noah is gonna watch Demolition Man. What we just saw there. Pop up on the Discord notifications. I'll show you what I made. I made this by hand. I do all my graphic design by hand, obviously. I don't know how else you do it. Except with fucking AI these days, you bunch of bastards. PyAmp. GUI files. Date modified. And this is my pixel art for I made this for 7 segmented display is the idea behind this. This is, what old technology used to be full of. Everything had one of these in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 when you're doing 8. 7 segmented display. So I've got this one, and then I need a couple of different sizes. So there's this one, then there's this one, then there's this one, then there's this one. We actually only need 2 of those sizes. But anyway, I replaced all that stuff. When we load up a file, we'll do... This is nowhere. Volume controls work. This is moving, as you can see. It tells us the length, the duration rather. It tells us where we are in the file. I can grab this, I can drag it to any position in the song. when I pause, this is something I recently added also, as it tells us sort of its state. Playing, paused, stopped. And then the final little, like, touch, one of the final little touches anyway, is, this is a WMA file, and the audio engine I'm using right now can't play WMA, so when you try and open a file, it can't play. You hear that? You know what? We just found a little bug there. That should have been louder. I should store the volume off, set the volume to 1.0, that kind of a thing, and put it back is what I need to do when this happens. But yeah, you get a little did-it sound, and then it tells you cannot play file, and then it scrolls that information back and forth, which it doesn't seem to be doing correctly right now. We're finding a bunch of little bugs that this is good. We're finding a bunch of little bugs. Why is it doing this? Yeah, I have gone through exactly this process many times and not had what we just ran into here. A little fish, and then you scroll. Isn't that exactly what we just did? Maybe it's because I did it 2 in a row. It's because I did 2 in a row. Aha. So I have found the bug. If you try and open 2 things, thank you for, hanging out to check this out. The last little thing that I've added to it is down here. You see this GA. You click on it. PyAmp uses the GUIable library, which enables truly custom UI using pure Python with no dependencies via tkinter. Yeah, that tkinter. Impressed yet? Check out GUIable on GitHub and donate on Patreon to support both PyAmp and GUIable development. This is... Runpon, I can see why you're so into audio stuff. I just... the last thing that needs to be done here is I need to make a link, a functioning like link thing for GUIable. I'm the developer of GUIable. I'm the developer of PyAmp, so I'm advertising the existence of GUIable by making PyAmp. It's kind of the driving force behind making PyAmp. I need to make something for GUIable that provides you with HTML style href, a-link, kind of links that will pop open a link in a browser. This window, by the way, closes when you hit escape. It also closes when you click anywhere outside of the window, inside, so there's no, there's no X here, and it's like, shit, how am I supposed to get out of here? Anything you do will close it, basically. Which is, I like doing, careful, subtle UI type stuff like that. Another thing to note is that now I have it such that if you click out of the window, the title bar here displays whether or not it's the focused window or not. You see that? It's not the focused window, it is. As long as I'm working inside the window, then this is the focused window. When I click out of it, I go do something else, it's no longer there. We've got a minimize button, we've got a close button. We've got these features as well. If I go back over to this is nowhere, put it to here. Fade under. I got these little streamer convenience buttons that I've applied to it, which I've showed off before. Fade all the way in. 7-second fade out. And note that it slows down as it gets nearer to the end. This is actually a quadratic Bezier linear interpolation, so the quadratic thing eases off as it ends the deals, and all of them do that. If you watch carefully when I fade in, it starts out fast and it gets slower. Starts out fast and gets slower at the end of it. This is basically 100%, except for the bug that we just discovered. This is basically 100% functional as I intend it, as a single-track audio player. The next stage is to add playlist management. And then when you can make playlists in here, I will be replacing this, AIMP, which takes... You can make AIMP look like almost anything. I will be replacing AIMP with my own, audio player for the sake of the live streams, and then I'll have these little, streamer convenience buttons where I can control this stuff. At the end of every live stream, we do one of these. We go, thanks for coming out. I am the Ronin Pawn. And see how I have to drag it down like that myself? I am the Ronin Pawn. Okay, I'll see you at the next live stream. Pawn out. And then I drag it up, and then over the course of the fade out, I just sit here and I do this every time. Now you know. This is my life as a live streamer. Every time, at the end of every live stream, I have to do that. I do it manually. I'm so sick of fucking doing it manually. Look, I got a button now, fade out. It's just going to handle it for me. All I got to do now is add in the actually, it's a lot of work to add playlist management to this. But I'm going to do it. Yeah. And that's what we'll end the live stream on. If I've never said it before, I am the Ronin Pawn. Took the now you know how the sausage is made. You don't want to eat it anymore, right? Thank you all for joining me across this much shorter than usual live stream. 3 hours 45 minutes. Had some ME CFS events. Last live stream ended, with me feeling and looking horrible. Let's take it easy is my idea. So yeah, we're gonna end this one a little bit short, and in our future next Kerbal Space Program job, we've now got the moon set up. I think we might be headed to Minmus. Before we land on the moon, we might head to Minmus. I've always thought that the proper progression, if somebody who gave a damn about game design had made Kerbal Space Program, what you would do is you would send the player to the moon through the missions. You would heavily insinuate, here's what we want you to do. You would give them these missions at a certain time to say, this is how you should do it, so that people could learn. New players could learn. You would send them to the moon for a flyby. You would send them to the moon for an orbit. And then, finally, you would send them to the Minmus for their first landing. You would teach them, it's easier to get to the moon because of the big sphere of influence, and there's no inclination change, right? So in terms of like flying, go to the moon. That's how you teach them to fly in space. But when it comes to landing, when it comes to that, Minmus is way easier. So you teach them how to fly, then you teach them the inclination thing with Minmus. You got to go out to Minmus, and then eventually you basically point them at the moon first, and then you interrupt that and go, we've discovered a new body, Minmus, and then you send them out there instead. You get them to land on Minmus, and then you come back to the moon. The moon's much harder to land on. Too much gravity. Takes a lot more Delta V. It's a new player without a Delta V map, since they didn't put that in the goddamn game. So, why don't we play the game the way that I've always thought that it should be played? We've been to the moon for flyby, we've been to the moon for orbit, we put a space station around the moon, we put a pair of headphones on the moon today. Next we go to Minmus. Look forward to that on a coming live stream. We'll be back this Sunday at probably around 6, 7 a.m. in the goddamn morning, your U.S. Eastern Time Zone. I am the Ronin Pawn. And I'll hope to see you then. Pawn out.
Impressive.
In 3, 2, 1, fire!